7 p.m. CrossFire. Here we go, guys. What a great show. And, you know, I want to take a few moments here. I was just telling the panel this behind the scenes, and we do have a few other panel members who are going to be joining us shortly. I want to say thanks to the panel members. Thanks to you guys, too, in the chat for being here. I mean, this is a big day, right? You've got a big game released in Spider-Man 2. You guys know that. And Mario Wonder is released as well today. And I have both, and I've been probably going to truck through majority Spider-Man through the whole weekend. I know after this show, family really wants to get down and play a little Super Mario Wonder. So I know this is a big weekend for us. We all wait till this time of year. October's always become a hot month. November kind of trickles that heat in, and then we enjoy our backlog as we go into December and January. But I do want to say thanks, everybody. By the way, shout out to Slayin Chilean, who's back with the family, by the way. Thank you so much for becoming a Mooch Maniac family member again, Slayin. I believe that just means the world to me, because I've had you on my list here, and I said, I missed this guy. He used to be in the house playing games all the time. He's a family member. Great to have Slayin Chilean back with us. That being said, guys, I want to say shout out to everybody that's here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tweet it out, let everybody know we are live. I see all the great comments already. Rob Jones, what's up, everyone? Shout out to the great Rob Jones, too. You guys know Rob has donated so many things to the channel. I have to take a minute and just say thanks and a shout out to Rob. Rob, thank you so much for the Spider-Man code. Just an outstanding individual. He just goes, here, Mooch, I got an extra. Here, take it. Buddy, I can't say thanks enough. Just to have that. Listen, we wake up with a code. I mean, as a Mooch, you're very excited about that. But Rob, I can't say thanks enough. You've been here for years, buddy, and I hope you stick around and hang out and game with me much longer. Also want to say real quick, take a look at that beautiful description, if you will. That gives you a bit of a synopsis of what tonight's show about. I think it's important to have a description down there so you guys can kind of check it out. We've got about 11 topics. We'll probably get to 2.5 of them. You guys know that. And I also promised the panel that we wouldn't go over the 2-hour mark. You know, I usually mooch their time. So I'm going to try and not do that with this being such a big gaming weekend. And the Great Slow-Mo Backslap and Forte are going live with DPS at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we've got a deadline here. We've got a deadline we've got to keep to. Shout out to Wooden's Throne. He says, Starfield lead quest designer left the same day Pete Hines did. Wooden's, we're going to get into it, but the super chat's working. It's a miracle. Wooden's, thank you so much. We'll get into that. That is one of my topics this evening. That being said, I want to say thanks to those Mooch Maniac family members one by one. If you'll consider, right above that description is the join button. If you'll join the channel and be so gracious, like I say, it just means the world to me. Let me just call each of these individuals out one by one, and then we're going to get to these amazing topics. The great Sir X-Man, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, TrueWiddy, Alphonso Carter, BRAP, who's coming in a little while. He's probably listening on the road. He's driving back. Jamie, Damion, the great Jimmy Harrison, who's here, Andy Hart, Red Hood 420, who's going to be on next week, Ham Solo 05, Rob Jones, Night Ripper 7, Toto Dope, Thumbs, JC 2013, Passive Prophet, Lord Metroid, Rabbit Got the Gun, Fastbender, Archwar Angel, Biggity 08, Slow-Mo Backslap, who you're going to hear from just in a moment, Henry Heck, Edward Jordan, Ice Queen, shout out to Dawn, and Silent Merc, our major Mooch Maniacs 4-star general who's back in the house, AD, Truth Serum, RPG 88, ya boy Roy, Scolari Brothers, Smokes 901, DC Gaming, Miko, Gaming with Persona, and Jay Barry, who are doing What's Up PlayStation, I believe, tomorrow at 11 a.m. I didn't see them cancel it, and I know when it's a big game, sometimes they won't do it. But if they don't, I'll just be wandering around the house aimlessly at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I hope to God they're doing it. Go over and check out What's Up PlayStation on Saturday mornings. That's how I start my Saturday. It's how I encourage you to do the same. Tactical Gamer, who's out there, he's out there on the road right now, actually supporting the country, doing his duty. So I want to say shout out to Tactical. Thank you so much. Danelle Brown, That Guy Smitty, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs, Shadow Assassin, Raji, Domino Zero, The Wise Old Gamer, and our honorable mentions, General Thad Ape, I'm still saying it wrong, Supreme Samurai, and Julian Johnson, you're out there with that food, water, or toilet, please come home. And our forever Mooch Maniacs, Longshot 316, and the great Optimus Code. Guys, that being said, the reason I'm rushing through so quick is I'm on a time schedule tonight because of all the games we got to play, and this panel is hot and ready to go. That being said, I'll start with the one and only. You know, he says he's got a show at 9 o'clock. I says to him, listen, do me a favor. Come in here. We'll do a great outro out of my show into your show. The great Slow-Mo Backslap is here from DPS. Hopefully Forte's able to join us too for a little while tonight. Slow-Mo, how you doing this evening? Good. Absolutely. I appreciate that. And this is an honor. Great to have the great Eric Hutz for the win. Erica is back on the show. Me and Erica have been talking behind the scenes for probably 3 months trying to make this work. But, you know, when you're on different ends of the coasts and you've got kids, it alters everything. So I want to say, Erica, it is great to have you back on the show tonight. And honestly, if there could have been a week to get you on, this would have been the one. So, Eric, how are you doing this evening?
Come on here. You got the energy, so it's going to be a good time. I think we're going to have fun tonight.
I appreciate that. You know, the audience was just saying they couldn't hear the panel members, and this is the problem I'm having with this mixer. They can't. I think they can now. They're going to be able to hear it now. Erica,
how about now? Do you hear me?
Can we do it now? Let's try it live. We'll do it live right now.
Test 1 2.
Apparently, they
I
can
hear
only
echo
hear
though.
me. Do you hear an echo?
Oh man, I felt like this only happens on my show.
No,
but it apparently happens to Mooch too.
You know what? So Slow-Mo, you know why this
These
happens?
rookies in here.
The reason this is happening. The reason
they hear us now. They hear us.
Yeah.
Now.
Now, see, the problem is
Mooch.
that yes.
No, I was gonna say Mooch forgot to mooch better sound equipment.
Well, this is a great piece of sound equipment. And the reason Slow-Mo says he's having a hard time in his shows, me and Forte have the same mixer. That's the problem.
Oh.
What mixer is it?
It's the Rodecaster Pro 2.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be the Go XLR because I have issues with the XLR. So I thought maybe you had that.
No, and honestly, I think that yours is probably still better than this one here, Erica. For some reason, this one's got so many bells and whistles on it. I think that's the problem. There's so many options.
Too much going on.
Yeah, I have too much happening here. And I'll fix that. I'll work it out. But they said they can hear us now, so we're good. Problem solved.
Good.
I knew what
yeah,
it was.
I just said hi and that we've been trying to get me on here because of my schedule, and I'm here now finally. So I'm happy to be here.
Jordan now says we're loud. So he says, Mooch, your sound is low, or your guest is too low. This is the odd thing with this. Everything is showing we're high, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna crank everybody up a bit here. So now, guys, this might really hurt the audience's eardrums. We'll see. Let me know how that is, guys. I just upped the audio again. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to my next panel member here. And let me know, guys. Just let me say, he says, Tarantino says everyone sounds good. Who knows? So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll find out when the great D Batch does his entrance right now. D, also very, very difficult to get the great D Batch on. And listen, you don't even know what kind of things I had to pull to get D on a gaming released weekend. It was unbelievable. D, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I gotta say right now, I'm probably the most hated Xbox fan. Xbox guys are upset with me because I'm playing Spider-Man 2. So people are upset with me. I just finished up a stream for 3 hours playing the game as I wanted to test out if these bugs are really a thing or they're an isolated issue. So I played it for 3 hours. After the stream, I'll give you guys the link to the channel, but I'm sure we're going to talk about it in the show. But I'm glad to be here this week, and it's a great week. And you're right, you really had to put it on, dress it up for me to come on. But luckily for you, I did my stream 3 hours ago for 3 hours, and literally like 20 minutes ago. So I got a little bit of my Spider-Man fix in. So I think I'll be okay for the next 45 minutes before I want to go back to it. So we're good for a while.
Perfect, buddy. D, great to have you here. And honestly, with the minute I saw you say in the chat to us, in the CrossFire chat, you said, Mooch, I just got done with my stream. I said, thank God. Because if you had to do a stream after this, D, you would have been like, I got to get out of here. I got to go. I got things to do. So great to have you here, D. The great Dark Optimus also doing podcast after podcast after podcast. Shout out to Just Wait 2 in the chat. He says, chat says panel's too loud. Mooch goes, turn up the gain. That's what we do here. This is a loud podcast, folks. This is what we do. The great Dark Optimus also going from podcast to podcast tonight. Dark, thanks for being here tonight. By mooching your time week in and week out. I know you're playing a lot of games, and I'm anxious to hear what you have to say on our topics. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here, dude. Usually, Mooch, you give me at the last minute, but you know what? This past week, you were like, I think what was it, Wednesday? You were like, hey, can you come on? I need you. And I was just like, I got you, buddy. I got you.
I learned, right?
So
we as a people, we have to learn. You said, Mooch, these last minute invites. So I hit him up midweek. I said, there's no way we're going to get around this. So
Well,
let's.
because sometimes those last minute invites, I'm like, oh god, dude.
Oh,
But,
shit.
yeah, man.
Well, listen, we're going to have a great night tonight. I already know what some of the panel members are going to say this evening because we had a little side chat before the show, but you guys are in for a treat.
I'm gonna go on a rant, dude. I'm telling you right now.
Well, let me do this. Let me before we get into the, because I know for a fact that D-Batch and Dark have rants to get into. I'm going to start with Erica here because Erica is our guest that I haven't had on the show in quite some time. Erica, I want to know. I know you're playing Spider-Man. I want to know, and I want to talk about some of the good. We'll talk about some of the, the annoying and some of the ugly if there is some. But what do you think of the game overall, especially all the hype leading into this past week? Is it really living up to its 91 meta?
I would say, yeah, it's warranted. The hype going in. I got some tweets today at me saying, you guys always hype up games and then they never live up to that hype. I'm like, are you sure about that? Like, are you not playing this game? Because I'm really enjoying it. I've been smiling the whole time playing it. It's fun. The set pieces are insane. Especially that opening scene. My gosh, just so good. I have nitpicks about it. Like, there's times where I'm trying to activate something, you have to press triangle, and sometimes the triangle doesn't really pop up right away. Like, there's things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like nitpicks, But overall, like, I haven't had any bugs. I haven't seen anything crazy like that. I know we're probably going to get into that discussion. People tweeting out, bugs, and they're trying to down this game a little bit, I think. But overall, like, I've just been enjoying it so much. I loved Miles Morales. I loved Spider-Man 2018. So I knew I would love it. But I'm just impressed to see them do better. Like, you would think, like, what else could they do? They've already showed out before. They've had beautiful set pieces and all this stuff going on. Could they outdo themselves? And I feel like so far, like, I'm early. I'm like 4 hours in. But I feel like this game is doing that. Like, they could outdo themselves. Like, Insomniac, they're just good. They're definitely carrying Sony right now.
Facts.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
like, they're the best developers over there right now. We got to be real about that.
Carrying Sony like that PS5 stand.
Yeah, that's that meme of them holding up the PS5. Yeah, that's Insomniac for sure. So I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to the drama and all that stuff coming up. But just overall, man, I'm enjoying this game. I'm tempted to play during the podcast, and I might do that. I already told Mooch.
It might happen.
I'm like, I might be playing in the background.
Well, I'm playing it. I'm playing it right now.
Oh, come on,
I don't give a crap about this damn podcast.
Oh, here we go.
And let me say this. I'm gonna throw a shot at Lords of the Fallen right now because I'm coming off Lords of the Fallen, which is super glitchy, super bad in many areas. So to go to this game, I'm just like in love. So I'm very happy.
That's a good point that you bring, Erica, because just last week, Lords of the Fallen really got a bad rap, right? It came out, it's buggy, it's a mess.
Frame drops like crazy. It's bad. It's been bad.
Really bad.
And I think when it comes down to it, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat. Like, the thing that we're going to talk about on a lot of this, like I said, we want to tell the truth here. There's some of the things that you would call a bug. A lot of the stuff you're seeing on the internet that people are showing as far as stuck and glitches, a lot of that's forced. And we're going to get into that a little bit this evening. But calling out things that are happening, I saw the great Lethal Papa there. He says something about a sound. I did have a sound issue as well, and I just had to reset the game, and then it fixed itself. But I mean, again, nothing that I have encountered so far has been anything what you would call game breaking. It hasn't taken me out of it. I just literally reset the game one time, and I really haven't had a problem with that. Even the triangle issue that Erica just mentioned, and Slow-Mo, I'll go to you on this one because I heard you say, yes, I've encountered that too. That's something, because I'm showing some gameplay right here. I didn't want to do any spoilers. I have basically, what I did was I put a little bit of, I went back and played some of Spider-Man Remastered and got a little bit of that beginning, and then I do a little bit of the beginning of Spider-Man 2 that you guys have all seen on Twitter, so there's no spoilers on anything tonight. But even on the first Remastered, Slow-Mo, a couple of the triangle prompts, things like that, kind of, you had to hit it once or twice to kind of activate. Slow-Mo, what's your experience like, and also, do you think it still warrants the 91 meta?
I do think it still warrants the 91 meta from what I've played so far. I'm probably a little bit behind Eric. I haven't had too much time to play it. Just busy with work and stuff. But probably about 2.5 hours into it right now. And I'm kind of surprised with they outdid themselves, I think, with the very first showpiece action sequence that happened in the beginning. Like I wasn't expecting anything of that scale. But also I'm somewhat surprised with like a lot of the story elements. Like there are parts with, and I'm not trying to get into spoilers, but I mean like people already know that, you know, Harry Osborn's in the game, but like the aspects with him and just other parts with Miles and his mom and stuff like that. I really didn't expect them to get kind of like, I guess, that deep into some of the like the backstories and the history between some of these characters and some of the things that they're currently dealing with. So I thought that was a nice touch. I noticed they've and for me, I literally just went through Spider-Man Remastered, did all the DLCs and Miles Morales again. I did all of that again over the past week. So everything is like fresh in my mind right now.
Yes.
And coming off of playing those games all on ultimate, you know, highest difficulty, because the game's super easy, you know. But like I'm going into it and I'm just like, I'm getting into the combat and I'm like, oh, so they just took out the weapon wheel. Like they just completely removed the wheel. Okay, the wheel's gone now. It took a moment for me to get adjusted, but then I started to think, okay, all right, I see how it doesn't take you out of the action, because like the way they would do it before is like you'll pull up like Peter's gadgets and it kind of slows down the combat as you're choosing which one you want to do. But now like you really don't have that. The flow of combat stays the same. It's simplified, but I can see why the change was made there. I am really enjoying it. I will say some of these, okay, so the change with the costumes, so there's like 60 some costumes now, and
there's a lot, yeah.
And yeah, and they got like, so you'll have a costume and they'll have like 4 different variations of that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are just ugly though. Like I'm just like, all right, like you could have just not had that one at all. Like the pre-order bonus stuff. I was like, yeah, I got the pre-order bonus costume that I look at and I'm like, oh,
yes.
Oh, that's
those
it.
Colors, they just don't really match, you know.
Yeah, and so from what I've seen so far, very early, but the ones with the capes are just like, it's like clearly like. The cape was not supposed to be there. Like they didn't anticipate the cape. I'm in a cutscene and I'm just like, I wish I could pause this and put on a different suit right now, because I had the Spider-Man Peter's pre-order suit. It was like the blue and white one. His cape was cutting into his body, so it's just flapping out of his stomach in like a cutscene. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm distracted. I can't see anything but this cape coming out of his body, and it's just like little things like that. Or like those are bugs, but that's not anything that's going to be like, oh my god, why did they release it like this? Like, no, it's not that serious, you know. It's and I notice some areas where like excuse me, I have to like go to the ceiling or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pressing the prompt for that, as Erica said, and it's just like they're even saying, hey, hold R2, hit X. I'm like, I'm doing that. It's just like nothing's happening. And there's literally this one part where like I'm supposed to be in stealth, and I'm like, it keeps telling me to do that. I just ended up just hitting L2 R1, I think. L2 R2 to just, you know, zip up to the ceiling instead of doing it the way they wanted me to. And so it's just like, yeah, there's like little things that like need to get fixed, but they're pretty minor.
No, I completely agree with you. And it's funny, a lot of people they're misunderstood. Of course, I find it funny too, and I'm going to go to D here because I'm just having fun. I'm enjoying what the chat's saying. But everyone that's I have the same, you know, chat, and I'm very grateful. The guys come all the time every week. And it's only the Xbox guys in my chat saying they have bugs, D. I must be, they just got bad copies. I don't know how that happened.
Coincidence.
It's coincidental, of course.
Where to start on this? Okay, I'm just gonna go all in. So I streamed it for 3 hours, and I want to see if these bugs are a real thing, right? Because, you know, fanboys on both sides. Okay, let's get that straight.
Absolutely.
They can just push things way beyond, right? To put it out of proportion, right? And in 3 hours, I encountered one bug, and that was the end of my gameplay. I was picking up a manhole. I spun it around. One of the NPCs jumped on top of a car, and they kind of walked and slid down. That was the only glitch that I saw. I also noticed I saw some people posting one with a bicycle, and he's like riding it on the track. Now, the bicycle is you're on a certain path. You're supposed to go a certain way. If you're playing the game, or those that have played it, if you try to veer off the path, you can, but then it pulls you back in. What people are doing is they just keep veering off the path until it glitches.
And he gets stuck.
So
Yeah.
they get stuck. So they're doing this on
forcing it.
purpose. There's another part in the beginning when you're doing the Sandman scene, and after that encounter, there's sand all around the city, and you're swinging around doing some other stuff. It also forces you to go in a certain way, and if you try to go a certain way, there's like an invisible wall there. You cannot go that way because it wants you to go a certain way to progress the story. Now, this is, from what I can see, this is only in the beginning for like certain missions. Like, it's not in the open world part of the game. And what people are doing is some of them, I'm gonna say it's by accident. They're just saying, hey, why can't I swing this way? I want to go this way. They keep going that way and they get stuck. Some other people are realizing that if you go that way, you're gonna get stuck and glitch, and then they're posting it. I want to play it live, so nobody can say anything's edited. And it was my first playthrough, and everybody could see that from me starting up the game. It was my first time playing the game. We played it for 3 hours, and the one bug that I had, it's not even really a bug. It's because I threw all the NPCs around, right? And one of the NPCs went on the top of the car. It's not game breaking. It's not widespread like these people are saying. Now, will some people encounter a minor bug? Sure. Because every game has bugs. But is it riddled with bugs like some of these posts will let you lead you to believe? No, it's definitely not. I played it for 3 hours. I barely got one bug, if you really want to call it that. And I told you the other things are forced. Now, the graphic fidelity is amazing in the game. The 60 FPS performance mode works flawlessly. The 40 FPS 120 hertz mode works flawlessly. And I think that's the mode that everybody should play because it looks fantastic. And if you have a 120 hertz screen, it's super smooth. That's the way to play it, sure. It's all blown out of proportion, and like I was telling you before the beginning of the show, hardcore Sony fanboys did the same thing too with Starfield.
Yeah,
they would make the character go on the ground, and the NPC would look down the ground and look really weird at you, and they would caption that and take a picture of it and say, "Oh, look, the game is buggy." And I did the same thing for Starfield's release. I played the game for like 3 hours, 2 hours on a stream initially to see, hey, is this true? Are there bugs in this game? Is it broken? And once again, it wasn't broken. It wasn't bugs. It's just people being in their feelings. And like, honestly, I'm tired of it. At the end of the day, a good game is a good game. And anybody who's playing Spider-Man or is watching it being played and says that it doesn't look good, doesn't look like a quality title, doesn't look like fun, they're lying to themselves, and they're definitely envious. It's 100%. Like it at both sides. And I gotta say this honestly, all fanboys, I don't care which piece of plastic you're fanning over, they all suck and they all lack critical thinking. I'm just gonna be brutally honest on here, and I'm gonna be honest. Spider-Man is one of my favorite games, first of all, and I gotta say that Spider-Man 2 is a true sequel. It looks better, it plays better, it's bigger. There's new mechanics.
Yes,
the way the game starts off is like a blockbuster. I think I'm watching a movie here. Like I think I'm watching a movie. I think I'm playing a movie. I think I'm role playing a Spider-Man. I'm reliving my childhood fantasies of Spider-Man. I'm called back to the days when I was a kid reading the Spider-Man comics. It's a near flawless experience. Right now, I have it, like, I've only played 3 hours of it. So right now, personally, it's at a 90 for me. Wow, if it continues on the path, and I can just feel how it's just going to ramp up the story, I would say that the score that it got is 100% valid. 100%. It's a good game. And I don't know, people are just jealous, or they just have hatred in their heart for a company. And I think at the end of the day, we should judge games by what they are. Is it a good game? Is it a bad game? And I can confidently say that all of these bugs that you're seeing, some of them may be true, some of them are forced, some of them are like one-offs, and also too, we don't know how many of these were taken before the day one patch, because I applied the day one patch, and like I said, I experienced nothing except for one NPC at the end of my gameplay kind of sliding off a car.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, D, I want to go back. The one thing when you were explaining your excitement for the game, I read this on Twitter, so I won't take any credit for it. But the reason that Sandman entrance, the beginning of the game, is so electric, and I think that when you did, D, I'll use your words. You said it reminded me of my childhood playing games. One of the games that somebody really kind of put it 1-to-1 against was the beginning of God of War. And I'm not saying it's exact. You know what I mean with that grand scale?
I said that in my stream. I said when you're fighting Sam, I said, "Holy crap! This is giving me call back to the early God of War days. Like it was that epic of a boss battle, and that's like the first 30 minutes of the game. Can you imagine what is left for us in the game? Ridiculous."
Yeah. No, absolutely. You know, and by the way, I missed a couple of super chats. Shout out to Rob Jones. He says, "What's up, everyone? I hope everyone has a great weekend." Thank you, Rob. Domino Zero says, "Spider-Man 2 Collection Edition is legit. Love the statue. No regrets." Andy Hart, Insomniac nailed it again. Game of the Year contender. They know how to get the most out of the PS5. Xbox, please take note. And the melodic, we'll get to see the melodic punk, which you remember when melodic was first coming to the channel, I was always saying it wrong. Now I know I say it right because I have a whole week off of work.
That was
Mario.
Such an inside joke for a while, Mooch. Like we used to call him Melodick because you did.
Yes. So, and you know it's funny because Erica,
I had it as a sound alert for a while too. Which, yeah.
Erica, I think I was doing a stream and I think you were in the chat or we were doing the show. And I even said it wrong, and you were like, "That's what we used to call." But I've corrected it. So shout out to Melodic Punk. He says, "I have the whole week off for Mario and Spider-Man." He said, "I need that Spider Punk suit again." Well, it's in the game. I ended up buying, thanks to the great, not buying, but having the great Rob Jones give me the deluxe edition, and I got the Rockstar Spidey in there. But I got to agree with Slow-Mo. Some of them really just don't hit home for me. I'm still a traditional Spidey. I like the traditional ones more than anything else. And Lucence too. I hope I'm saying it right. He's like, "Let's go. Spider-Man 2 is out, and I got my collector's edition today. XP. I got a little hate for some reviewers that said no spoilers in their titles. And guess what? They're all spoiling something." So that's the one thing. I noticed that too. Yeah, I tried not to do. I along with D, I have only played about 3 hours so far. I am diving in head first the rest of the weekend, but I only have that intro, and I even cut some of the intro part of that with Sandman so that if you're going to go and enjoy it, I don't even take the end part. I took the end part out. So I didn't want to ruin anything for you guys. I want you guys to enjoy the game and enjoy the podcast. Dark, I know that you want to rant on this, and then we're going to go full circle on this. Go ahead, Dark. Have at it.
Okay. Let me just say this. If you buy games day one and you complain about bugs and glitches and things like that, then stop buying games day one.
You're saying it's a you problem, right, Dark?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know why? You don't have to buy the game day one. Yes, the developers know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They know people are going to buy these games day one with the bugs, and they're gonna get more revenue because people are seeing the bugs and they want to experience it for themselves, right? Like there's people out there that will do that, and it's ridiculous. Okay, people are just stop trying to make games look bad just because it's not on your preferred frickin' platform. Stop it. It's dumb. It's stupid. You look like an idiot. It's the same thing they did with Starfield, like D-Batch said. It's the same thing they did. And I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, I played Starfield. I didn't run into any of that shit that you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Either my game is working better than yours or what. I have no idea. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm not gonna say that this game, Spider-Man 2, it doesn't have bugs, because I came encounter of 2 bugs in the game. One was where I was doing one of the active crime things, and I was playing as Peter Parker, and Miles Morales swooped in and kicked one of the bad guys, and he went right through the wall, right through the floor, and disappeared. But he was still there. You could still hear him talking. So that happened, right? And then I had another bug while I was playing as Miles, where the camera was glitching out. So, you know, and I played this game for about, I would say, a good probably about 5 hours already of this game.
Okay.
And I'm loving it. right now for me, and this is coming from somebody who played 2018 like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I absolutely love 2018 Spider-Man, and I absolutely loved Miles Morales. I played that probably about the same. Um, so this game for me is a 10 already. Only just
Mm.
really because of the traversal in the game. Being able to have the web wings
Yes.
is like a
So
godsend
good.
from
It's
like
pretty cool. Yeah.
any like type of game like that. It is like it's like ooh, and then you have like different gusts of wind that you can traverse through.
Wow, this guy really likes Super Mario Wonder.
I've never played. I didn't play it, so but yeah, it's just it's ridiculous that people are complaining about bugs and stuff like that. It's just like if you want them to stop having bugs in games, then maybe you should stop buying games day one.
So
Yeah.
so I know Erica,
Can I just say real
Go ahead, D.
quick? Every game is going to have bugs, and especially if
Exactly.
you go and look for them. I don't know any game that doesn't have any
Exactly.
bugs. They're all gonna have bugs. Now, is the question is it game breaking?
Correct.
Can you turn off your game and turn it
Exactly.
on and not have it happen
It's not.
again for like the entirety of your gameplay? Like that's the issue. It's not game breaking. It's
What are you
people
talking
are
about,
finding-
D-Batch? Games are
they're finding-
perfect.
they're finding a bug. Their screen recorders. Look, the game is broken. Meanwhile, they're probably the only person, or maybe 5 people, experience that particular bug that they have. You know, it's ridiculous.
So Basher,
And
real
Yeah,
quick,
I-
just
and
so
that's the thing, right? People are sitting here, going out of their way just to point out bugs in games, and it's just it's getting ridiculous, guys. Just stop doing
Yeah,
that.
they're
It's so dumb.
actively just trying to find them. Like let me comment
Yeah.
on the bike thing real quick. You know, they took it off road and they took it into the train tracks. I'm like, how'd they get this bike scene up there? They're not supposed to be up there. They're trying to break the game.
Yeah.
And of course it's gonna act
because
glitchy
You do
and
that
act
scene,
funky.
it's nowhere like that. Yeah.
Right. You're supposed to stay on a path and, go along with the story and they're talking or whatever. And that's what it's for. It's not to go explore the whole city with the bike. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's silly.
Yeah, when that happened to me, I blew on my disc and put it back in my PS5, and it worked.
it always works that way,
I
Basher.
did.
Basher,
Oh, man.
Basher, I checked everything on my end. You're coming through a little bit loud, Basher. I don't know if you can lower your volume. Just it's distorted, and I think it's just a volume thing. Basher has finished the game, which is going to be great to hear from him. The one thing that Dark said, and I heard Erica go, I don't know about that, and I know where Erica's coming from because Erica's saying, hey, we're putting out our hard-earned money for a product,
Yeah.
so that product should be ready when we buy it day one. Where Dark's coming from, and this is just, and boy, I tell you, we could really go down the rabbit hole, and I won't do that tonight. But
We definitely could.
right? We could. It could lead to many different paths that people don't want to go down. But like the problem is that the developers, and Dark, if I'm misrepresenting you, please let me know. But I think what you're saying
Yeah,
is the
I'll let you know.
developers have now learned that the hardcore gaming crowd, right, as you could see in my entire timeline, and I don't care if you're an Xbox fan or a PlayStation fan, the entire timeline has been Spider-Man for about 48 hours now. And the thing about it is that they know that we're going to go out and buy it anyways.
Absolutely.
So they're going to, that doesn't mean they're not going to get us a quick patch out there. I'm a little bit more on Erica's side and saying that, you've got to put your best foot forward, which I do believe Insomniac did. But in other games like Lord of the Fallen, Erica uses an example earlier, this looks like something, or let's even go back a little further, Jedi Survivor, where it took them 7 or 8 patches. That's not acceptable. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Not
so
an excuse.
Hey, is that better?
That's a lot better.
It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable, but here's the thing. They know that you're going to buy these games. So that's why they're like, oh, we'll just patch it in later. And yeah, that's the wrong way of thinking. That's the wrong mentality. Right. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. But to complain about it when you already know that the devs already know that you're going to go out and buy it, it's like, we have, if people really want to speak for their wallets, that's what they have to do. They have to take a big game like this, like Spider-Man or Super Mario, whatever, or something like that, and just not buy it day one. And then maybe then the devs will be like, oh shoot, well maybe we might have to actually start putting in patches that don't have bugs and stuff or getting out games that don't have bugs. But it's just like every game like you guys said, has bugs, right? Like, I mean, Lords of the Fallen was yeah, that one was a doozy, but also was Jedi Survivor. Even though Jedi Survivor had those bugs, I still enjoyed the game. But I absolutely agree that we we should have you know that we should speak with our wallets and not complain about it if these devs already know we're gonna buy them.
You guys want to hear something crazy? Lords of the Fallen's been out for a week, right?
Yes.
It's had like 10 patches.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
it's been insane. Yeah, it's been really bad.
And in those cases, why didn't you just delay a month?
Right.
Like, why did you have to launch it when you launched it, when you've got that many patches to fix things coming out in just a week? I don't think that the bugs that I've seen so far in Spider-Man 2 are any like more plentiful than I've seen in like Miles Morales or Spider-Man 2018. Like I literally just finished Miles Morales last night and playing it over the past couple days. I had a bug where Miles's friend Finn is inside of the fist tower where she turns to look at me and she just collapses. She's not supposed to do that.
You're like, that doesn't even happen in the game.
That doesn't happen. That's not supposed to. She just collapses and the whole cutscene's over. And I'm just walking around. And there's nothing I can do. I have to restart. Like stuff like, and this game has been out, so it's just like stuff happens. But when I think the biggest issue is that when like you should have released this game when you did, it's performance based. When your frame rate is abysmal, it's like it's supposed to be a performance mode, but it's like 5 frames higher than what the quality mode is. No, that's not a performance mode. What are you doing? Why are you even releasing a game at this point? It's just little things like that. Not little things, big things like that. That I say, like, why are we releasing a game at this time? Clearly, it's not ready. And people, I think there's a lot of people.
To the publishers, though, on that, though, too, man.
Oh yeah, the publisher is the one that is really the issue here, because the publisher is the one that's saying when the game is going to get released. But the people who are overblowing and creating situations, trying to find ways to cause bugs and release them online, are bitter because people did the same thing to Starfield. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. They're just bitter because it happened to Starfield. We see some people in the chat saying, "Oh, but you guys didn't say this would this happen to Starfield," and it's just like,
exactly. I want to comment on that.
They don't listen to the podcast we're on then.
right.
With Starfield, they said the same thing. Oh, you didn't say it. I said, yes, I did, and I actually did a video, like a live stream, to see if these bugs were there. And the guys that did it for Starfield, they're all in the same camp. They're all losers, in my opinion, that do that stuff. It's ridiculous. Like, honestly, these guys, there's such a small fraction of the actual community, but unfortunately, they're so loud. And you got out of 1 million people, 100 people that have issues, and that 100 people, they go on the internet and post it all over the place, while the other 990,000 whatever people are enjoying the freaking game, and they're not posting anything about any type of bugs. It's just ridiculous, man. Like, a good game is a good game, and what I don't like is that these developers work hard on these games, man. Like the Starfield developers, like that game was in works for years, and that was I don't play Bethesda games, to be honest with you. It's my first real Bethesda title, and I enjoy it. But I heard that Bethesda games have been really buggy. That was their first release that was virtually bug-free. They had very few bugs, yet you still had people saying stuff. And once again, with Spider-Man is right now one of the best games that I've ever played. Like, honestly, it's so much fun. And I'm sorry, man, if you're just stuck on one console, you're missing out.
Yeah, indeed, that's well said. And, Basher, you've beaten the game. Now, we're not doing spoilers, of course. And you really enjoyed it. And it was funny, I talked to Basher when he was playing it before the embargo, and he gave me a couple things. And then he said, I got to tell you, Mooch, I kind of changed my score as I finished the game. So, Basher, go ahead. What was your overall take? And also comment on what you're hearing the panel discuss as well.
So my overall take, I'd say. By the way, do I sound good? Or does it
No,
sound
you're spot on now, buddy. Sounds great.
So my overall take on it is, obviously, not to get into spoilers, I'm not too happy. Well, not really. I'm not gonna use the word happy. I'm not too much of a fan of how they approach Venom for the game as a whole. It's not a huge deal, but it's very just on the nose for me. Other than that, the game itself, is. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna change my score again. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 just because it has 2 bugs, and we can't have bugs in video games. You guys are wrong at the end of the day, and games are not supposed to have any bugs whatsoever. They're supposed to be perfect, and if they do launch with bugs, then fuck the game and fuck all the developers. They can all just go eat a dick, and that's it. Bye bye. But no, it's a fantastic game. Kudos to Insomniac for putting it together and actually being able to live up to the hype from the first game. Honestly, I think after playing and completing Spider-Man 2, I'm going to tell you, my first thought after that was, holy fuck, what are they going to do with Wolverine? That to me keeps kind of going throughout it, day to day, because I'm a huge Wolverine fan, and what they did here just attests to the fact that we don't really have to depend on Rocksteady anymore when it comes to making quality superhero games. This game it just attests to the fact that they are extremely good at what they do. I actually, I know one of the QAs over there, his name's Justin Dean. Before I got the game, I didn't think it was going to live up to hype, and I had a conversation with him about that, and we were just shooting the shit, and I asked him straight up, I was like, dude, there's a lot riding on this game, you know that, right? And he's like, oh yeah, it's a great game, man. It's fantastic. You guys are going to love it. And I'm like, but there's no way you guys are going to live up to the hype. And he's like, no, we're going to blow it out of the water.
Wow.
Wait
I
and
love
see.
that. I love that stuff. I love that behavior. I do. I really do.
And they're confident. They're really confident. As far as what we're talking about here, the conversation as a whole, a couple days ago, I was getting into a back and forth on X or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, with an individual, because I had basically said my opinions, again, opinions, not facts, opinions on God of War, Ragnarok, and the state of Sony, and what I'm seeing and what I feel. And there was a lot of passion behind the back and forth. And the one thing that I can say that really just drives me fucking crazy is whether you're an Xbox fan, whether you're a Sony fan, PlayStation fan, Nintendo fan, the how much people get so enveloped into defending. It's like sports almost at the end of the day. Their designated team is just insane to me, where at the end of the day, as gamers, really what we should all want, and what I think others preached as well when it comes to consolidation and stuff like that, is just good games, consistent quality games like this.
Right.
And it doesn't matter where it's happening. It could be Starfield. It could be, Spider-Man 2. It could be Last of Us. It could be Halo. If it's a good fucking game, then we should all cheer that game on. We shouldn't go and look for every possible negative on the game because we feel like we're butthurt because something wasn't exactly what we wanted to be on our console that we choose to play on.
Well, I think what you said, Basher, that really kind of hits home, and I want to get BRAP and Forte, great to have the great game in Forte here, and BRAP's here early, which is wonderful, is that, I, like you guys, and I said this on the show last week, I said it the week before, I've got 30 hours in the Starfield. I didn't really care for it, but I'm not going to sit here, and I know that, shout out to the great Lethal Papa who's here in the chat, and I said, Lethal enjoyed it. I think Lethal said he's 4 days in. 4 days, 4 times 24. He say it's a lot of hours he's put into that game. He's enjoying it. Just because it's not, if you want to get into a great conversation about likes and dislikes, that's what CrossFire is all about. Just saying, oh, it's got 8 bugs, it's a piece of garbage. This is, blah, blah. That's where it kind of goes.
That's not fun.
Yeah, it's not even, because the debate starts and ends with your one sentence. You know what I mean? It's just over. You're not, you could clearly see it's not going to go anywhere. BRAP, what did you think? Have you gotten I haven't got a chance to even talk to BRAP. BRAP's been the last true American family man. BRAP, What do you think? Have you got any Spider-Man 2 time in?
No, unfortunately, I don't, Mooch. I just got back from the resort and pulled up to my house, and the box is just sitting there outside, and brought the box in, and I'm like,
you got the 19 inches of Venom.
Yeah, Mooch, I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought about Mooch, I might not make it tonight. but no, I saw my brat brethren here, Forte, slow mo.
Yes.
And I was like, I gotta.
You gotta be here, Brad.
Yeah.
It's a big weekend.
And me too.
Yeah, what about Eric?
Oh, and Cuts. I'm sorry, Cuts. I forgot about Cuts.
Of course.
Yes, and Cuts and D-Batch and the rest of the crew here. But no, I haven't had a chance. But I've been reading at some of the feedback on X or Twitter, whatever the hell it's called today, and it's been really positive. Some of the set pieces, wow.
Yeah.
Like this game, and I don't know if someone said earlier, maybe it was you, Cuts, because I was listening on the way back home, but someone said Insomniac is really carrying the mantra for PlayStation 5 this generation.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, and they absolutely are. They are literally carrying the torch. And this game, it's like how do they outdo themselves? And they just did. That is a testament to the talent at that studio, and I cannot wait for Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine's going to be incredible. And this game is going to sell gangbusters, by the way. It's like PlayStation is going to sell tons of consoles. This game is going to sell ridiculous. We were talking about it on BRAP this past Wednesday. We were asking the panel what we thought this game would sell. I think God of War sold, oh my God, how many was that?
I thought God of War was it
Which
6?
one?
Was it Ragnarok 6 million
Ragnarok
in 5 days?
6 million in 5 days.
Yeah.
I think this sucker hitting 10 million, man.
Yeah, I agree with you,
yeah,
Batch.
easy.
I think it's 10 million in a week easily, and that is incredible. When you think about that video, only 5% of video games are actually successful, make money. That Sony, this console generation, you look at what they've done, their body work. Their studios, and you think about that percentage. Jesus. That is just incredible.
I made a comment the other day. I'm sure you guys all saw it. How I saw the review score for Spider-Man, and I saw the review score for Mario World Wonder, whatever. World, whatever. I have it. I played it, by the way. It's a pretty good game. I'm gonna say on the record, I don't think it's a 10. I don't know anyone scored a 10. It's pretty good Mario. For me, it's like a 8.5, but it's a great game. My son and I love it, but yeah, it's not a 10. I don't know. But yeah, it's still a great game. But that's neither here nor there. My point is that I put a tweet out saying that, I want Xbox, to have the media admiration for their games and from gamers. I want it to be undeniable.
Yeah.
And everyone got upset with me. Oh, what are you talking about? All their games are quality. And at the end of the day, if that's the case, why are as Xbox fans, why are we in third place? Why do you have Phil Spencer going out and getting all these companies, ABK, and saying under oath that, we need to compete. We're not at the level. He literally said we're not at the level of Sony. And I'm repeating it, saying that, hey, I want Microsoft to get to the next level, to be competing with that, to be releasing games that are, of high caliber. And suddenly, all the Xbox games, Starfield is trash and Forza is trash. It's not trash. They're not perfect games. They're really good games, but they're missing that little extra. You understand?
Yes.
That puts them on that next level. And I simply said that I want Xbox to get at that level.
Hey, D.
And because I said that, I'm not an Xbox fan. Now I'm a Sony pony. And of course, this week I'm on Mooch's podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah.
You know what's funny? It's funny you say that. I've said the same thing too. That the Xbox platform needs a game that really moves the needle. And people are like, oh, what about Pediment? No, I said moves the needle. That Pediment, great game, but it's not going to really move the needle. It's not going to get butts out of the chair to go out and buy Xbox consoles or subscribe to Game Pass. So I agree with what you said, D. They need something that moves the needle. And you see what happens when they have a game that's in the conversation, right? That's in the zeitgeist. And with Starfield, there's been a knock-on effect to console sold. We don't know what the actual numbers, but I know Matt Piscatell said there was a blip, an increase in Game Pass subscriptions. We don't know how much that was, but it happened around the Starfield release. So there's something to be said for that.
Starfield sold also 10 million copies, which is phenomenal. A lot of people did not expect it. Myself, I didn't expect it to do 10 million copies. And that goes to show you that, games can thrive in Game Pass and be a huge commercial success. And Microsoft needs to continue on that trajectory.
Well, I was going to say,
you know what? In all honesty, most of the sales were on PC. And if you really want to look at the numbers of new Xbox Game Pass subscribers, like the growth, it's all coming in the PC sector.
But when you stop and look at it, Fallout 4 did something like 12 million copies in like 3 days or something. So I knew that Starfield was going to do well. I also if you said I had to write it down and put it into a capsule, I would have definitely put down that it would have been very, very more well received and more purchased on the PC platform. I mean, that's just a given right there. I think when it comes down to it, to get back to what because D, no matter how you're feeling this week, nobody knows how you feel more than I do. And, it's one of those situations where it seems like with Game Pass, and again, this is just a feeling. I'm not saying this is true. It's just a feeling. And you guys, I think it brings up a great discussion piece. With games going in Game Pass, what do people say? Oh, I'll get to it. Oh, I'll strike it up at some point. There's something about seeing these midnight releases, and I'm not just saying physical at a GameStop or a Best Buy. I'm talking about also having a 12:01 a.m. Eastern time launch digitally, and people, their hard-earned money going out there, spending it, taking the pictures, the big launch, the London, the Toronto, New York City, San Francisco, Miami, all sorts of different parts of the country and the world. They do this big thing for this event. And it just feels like the Super Bowl of video games. And, they did, I think Xbox came very close with Starfield. I think they came close with Starfield. But
I think they did.
They did. It was the closest they have come. But again, how long will it be till we see something like that? You have to remember, Starfield is probably, of the games announced, Hellblade 2, Avowed, things like that. The games that are coming in the near, year, 18 months, none of them have the clout in the backup of Todd Howard and Bethesda and 25 years in the making, the whole thing. This was the big, like, ta-da. And you can see it didn't change a lot in console sales. It did very well on PC. And it's interesting because you wonder what direction is Xbox. Xbox isn't going away by no means. Nah, it's not. But is Xbox the console eventually going to be going away? That's something that's still a discussion piece. Not now, but maybe a generation, or it may not be here after the next generation.
Yeah. Let me address all of that. I first of all, I don't think Game Pass is the problem. I think Game Pass is the solution, and I think because of Game Pass, Microsoft has stayed in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with Game Pass is that they need to have consistency. So they need to have consistent quality AAA experiences in the service, and I really do believe they can do that now with the acquisition of ABK, because there's a lot of IPs in there. There's a lot of stuff that they can revisit. So they need to be on it. They need to go with all their might. They need to be strategic in what they do. I think this generation perhaps is pretty much lost for Microsoft. I think they're still going to sell many consoles and sell a lot of games. And let's be honest, Starfield selling 10 million copies plus Game Pass subscribers and all that stuff is good. It's good. I'm sure it's generated a lot of revenue for them. So that's excellent. When Call of Duty games are in the service, it's going to generate a lot of revenue. When Call of Duty starts to enter Game Pass on the regular, as they start to add these titles, you're going to see a huge increase in Game Pass numbers. When Call of Duty is day and date in the Game Pass service, that's going to be your midnight launch release. That's going to be something special. So I think they're in good shape. I just think that they really need to focus on their marketing and releasing top quality games. It's okay if you have some games that are double A, that are indies. Nobody has anything bad to say about those games, but when you don't consistently have bangers, then it's a problem. Now, Starfield came out, excellent release, 10 million copies sold, games on Game Pass. Forza came out, I don't know all the numbers, doesn't look like it's doing as good as maybe some of us would hoped it to do, but it's still a pretty good, solid game. They need to continue with that and, put the bar up a little bit higher.
Can I chime in on that real quick? What you just said? So I think the biggest thing that people are making a mistake on, especially when it comes to Forza, and where Microsoft's making a mistake with that, is that people look at, because Xbox, people are waiting for these AAA console exclusives. When they look at a game like Forza, they're expecting a game like that to be massive. But the reality is that Forza is a niche game. It's a sport game. It's like what you get with Forza, you can get with Gran Turismo. And Xbox knows that already. But it's the fans that make it to be this massive thing of like, oh, well, Forza needs to be a 10 out of 10 because Xbox needs it. That's simply not the case at all. What Xbox needs is they need original games like Hellblade and Gears of War and new Halos and just new IPs in general. Not Forzas, not F1 games, not soccer games, none of that. Because that shit you can get anywhere else at any time. I mean, and people, when I see people on X and whatever, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and they're like, well, look at GT7 and look at Forza graphics comparison. Oh, Xbox sucks. It's like, well, when people are racing in these racing games, they're not even looking at shit like that. They're looking at they're more for a competitive angle. They're looking to play these games because they like cars, they like racing, and they're super competitive. And I don't understand that whole logic of like, well, Forza is not doing gangbusters. Well, it's a fucking racing game. The reason why Horizon is always on people's, in people's conversations is because Horizon is not really a crazy it's more of an RPG if anything.
And it's an arcade sim kind of.
It breaks the mold from what people are usually used to in racing games, and that is why Horizon is like Microsoft's bread and butter when it comes to that kind of thing, because when they put that together, it was incredible. It was an incredible idea to do that, and it's very successful for them. I think Microsoft, and I don't even think Microsoft looks at Forza or looks at these games and it's like, this game needs to be the best game possible, because no, they look at that and they're like, we want to get the people who like racing games for this game, and we want to give them an option on this console and in Game Pass.
I think Button Basher.
I think they inspire to be the best racer. To be honest, I think they definitely inspire.
What is categorically speaking? What is the best racer? What is the best racer? Like a racer is a racer. It's on a track. You're getting your best time. You're competing with people. Hopefully, the online works well so that it's not lagging like shit, and you're getting the smoothest experience possible and the most frames possible to have a good experience. But other than that, if you're playing GT7 and you're playing Forza, you're technically kind of playing the same thing. You're not. It's not that much.
Have you played these games?
No, I haven't.
Being sarcastic, but
no, he's being sarcastic. I think
GT7 and Forza. I think they're two different games. They don't play the same.
They're both sim racers at the end of the day.
But they play both completely different. To be honest.
Well, here's the thing. The one thing, Basher, you said that the one thing I thought you said that was very interesting that I think a lot more people should. And we won't get into it too much here because I have a lot of topics and I want to hear what the rest of the panelists to think about those. But you said something that was interesting. Microsoft needs to focus on new IP. And the one thing that I hear everyone said it a million times, not tonight, but they've said it over the past 2 years while we've been waiting for the ABK deal. The fact that Call of Duty is going to be on every console and then some, I don't think it going into does it make a difference? You'll see a number go up. Will it be the number that people are telling you it will? Listen, if you have a PlayStation 5 and you're a PlayStation 5 gamer, and you like games like Spider-Man and Bloodborne and this and that and Uncharted, and you like Last of Us, and you happen to buy Call of Duty once a year, you're not going to go spend $500 buy an Xbox, pay $16.99 a month because a game ends up on Game Pass. No. So it doesn't move everything the way that what Microsoft needs to do. Hear me out real quick. I understand where you're going to go with this. I believe I've heard your pitch and I've heard that pitch. The thing about it is that at the end of the day, you need the new IP. And when you say, well, I'm excited about Activision's new IP. Activision makes WoW, they make Diablo every 10 years, they do Overwatch, and they do Call of Duty. Now, you say, I know they have a lot of IP. Rare has a lot of IP. Microsoft, for the past 10 years that they didn't do a lot while they were building Game Pass, they could have said, hey, Rare, pull a couple of the things that people have been begging you to make and make it. So when people are like, well, now they have Activision, so they're just going to open up the chest of IPs. I don't see it that way. They've got a lot of things to juggle. Right. They've got a lot of work to do.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Slow-Mo.
About this Call of Duty thing. So I agree, Mooch, that you're not going to get people who are already super invested in the PlayStation ecosystem to if Call of Duty's still coming out on PlayStation, they're just going to get it on PlayStation. If they don't own the Xbox, they're not going to see the value in getting an Xbox. just because now the marketing is on
Right.
on it's going to be still going to be marketed as an Xbox game now.
Absolutely.
Even though it's parody everywhere.
That's right.
That said, what I think it's really about is the newer generations that are coming in and getting into that ecosystem, because what PlayStation has benefited from with that marketing is that younger gamers that are now looking at Call of Duty because their friends are playing Call of Duty,
right?
And now they see the marketing. They don't own a PlayStation or an Xbox, but they're going to go tell their parents, "Buy me a PlayStation," because Call of Duty is just look like it's on PlayStation,
right? But
I don't know what an Xbox is.
The thing about it, though,
that's going to start to reverse. As time goes on,
well, that time
because that's no longer that pipeline from young gamer to PlayStation.
But the time is what I'm talking about. By the time the games end up there, end of next year at the soonest, okay, you've already got over 50. You'll have over 50 million PlayStation 5 sold. Phil Spencer has said himself, we lost, and I said, if you go back and listen to podcasts, the Crossfire before this generation started, I said what Phil said on this show. I said, Xbox lost the worst generation in last generation because people are bringing their digital games along with them. Okay. So you have PS4 going to PS5. By the time that happens, what you just said, Slow-Mo, which part of it is very true, but you're already going to be at 50 to 60 million consoles sold for PS5. This generation, D just said it, this generation's already going to PlayStation as it is. So you have 10 years of Call of Duty going to PlayStation after the 2024. So it's 2034.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with you, Slow-Mo, and I'm not disagreeing with D-Batch. But what I'm saying is what you guys are saying, I agree, but that is a ways down the road, and that's an if, because now we'll say this: will Call of Duty?
But that's what they care about, though. They know they're not going to reverse any of that like next year.
It's the long play.
I'm not
it's
talking
the long
about
play,
next
and
year.
also
it's a long-term play. Yeah, that's why they didn't care about the streaming stuff going to Ubisoft. They didn't care about giving them 10 years because for them,
it's like a third-party publisher.
Well, I don't know about that either. I mean, I think that's a whole different topic.
That's what I said earlier.
It's a long-term play for the ecosystem. It's when in 10 years from now, is PlayStation getting another contract? Are the percentages still going to be the same of how many people play on consoles versus PlayStation versus Xbox versus PC versus mobile? Those numbers can shift. They're going to look at that, and if it's still the same way it is right now, they'll re-up another deal with Sony. Why the hell not? Right?
Can I chime in?
Let me get this point real quick though. It's like I said, it's the long play, but also Call of Duty is going to be an addition. There's going to be other games. You're forgetting that all of these studios are under one banner now. They're all Microsoft studios. They can work across lines, right? They can work with each other. They can share technologies. They can share ideas. They can say, hey, the guy who does the reloading animations on Call of Duty is freaking awesome. I'd like to have him on my game, and vice versa. And when this is all up and running, you're going to have a steady stream of games coming out. Now, Sony is really being held afloat right now by Insomniac, and I'm sure they're going to continue to put out great games, but they're going to need more studios. They're going to need more games, and Microsoft, they're going to have a lot of games that are going to be coming out continuously, and that is going to add to the lure of Game Pass and for people to want to subscribe to Game Pass. Yeah, maybe a lot of the PlayStation players that are on the platform now aren't going to switch over, for sure. I agree with that. That's why they're keeping Call of Duty multi-platform. But the new players that want to get a PlayStation or want to get an Xbox, it's going to be more enticing for them to maybe go on Game Pass with all these Call of Duty games and all these other games from these studios that are in there. The PC market is growing at a high rate.
Yep.
A lot of those guys are going to jump onto it and say, I don't want a PlayStation 5. I'm going to get this service. It's the best for me.
D, I got one example for you to back up what I'm saying. Minecraft sells more than I think even Call of Duty. My point is that Minecraft is on PlayStation. Minecraft is on PC Game Pass. Minecraft is on Game Pass. Did everybody run because Minecraft is that massive? Well, all the kids are going to want it. Everyone's going to go get an Xbox. Everyone's going to go get a $299S. Everyone's going to.
Minecraft's not Call of Duty, first of all.
Let's also not make Minecraft nothing.
Well, but isn't Minecraft bigger on mobile and Yeah, I think
But Call of Duty Mobile is
It's big on
pretty
PC.
Well, I
It's
also
big on
think it
PC
has-
too, Slow-Mo.
Yeah, I also think it has something to do with the fact that it's not about people switching. It's about getting people to come over to a platform that they probably just don't have. You know, that's what happened in the 7th generation. A lot of people had both consoles. Like, people found the benefit of having a Xbox 360 and a PlayStation 3. That flipped in the next generation with the PS4 and the Xbox One. More people found the benefit of having a PS4 and didn't feel like they had to have an Xbox One. The people that bought the Xbox One were the diehard Xbox fans. PlayStation fans felt like they didn't have to have an Xbox One, so they didn't buy one. So the onus is on Xbox to come out and say, hey, you don't have to leave your PlayStation, but here's a reason to come over to Xbox. So it's never been about taking people away from PlayStation. It's always been about, why should you own multiple platforms? I talk to people all the time. It's like, people literally walk in the store and say, hey, that's why I got both consoles, because I have options. I can play whatever I want to. And that's not something that everybody can do.
Didn't Phil Spencer said that
people out there that
Call of
can
Duty's
do
not
that
going to be used to sell Xboxes? He pretty much said that.
What do you say, Brad?
That's all it's about. It's about just converting as many people.
No. Phil Spencer said
both.
he said we're not going to leverage Call of Duty. I'm paraphrasing, to try to push people to go out and buy Xbox consoles.
Right.
But it's an addition. It's making the service.
It just like
attractive. It's all rolled into one. It's not one specific game. It's all part of a plan.
Right.
But I just don't think so there's just this conversation really nuanced, by the way. Like, it's you'll have people that will look at Game Pass and say, you know what, I'm play Call of Duty and I want to get Game Pass because I get like 300, 400 games. That's awesome. I see value in that. You have other people that are like, you know what, I only play Call of Duty and I only want to spend $70. I don't see the value in subscription services, and that's not for me. You know, and I really think the big play here for Microsoft and Game Pass is offering a low cost barrier of entry for gamers who don't want to pay $70. It's a different consumer. It's not us. I don't think Game Pass is we think about long term. I think it's necessarily about us, because, you know, we will go out and buy $70 games, but people want access to a library of games. Don't want to pay $70 for games. Want to play their games wherever they want. It's also about overseas markets and mobile, like India, which, you know, they don't get Call of Duty, but they also don't get consoles. Like, they're not going to go out and buy consoles, but they will play video games on mobile devices. That's a big revenue stream for Microsoft, potential revenue stream for Microsoft, leveraging Game Pass to break into those markets and get people gaming. So
here's where I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, Brett, but here's where I don't think that Microsoft's playing the long game with Call of Duty. I don't think they're playing the long game, because as of right now, they're lagging extremely behind when it comes to that long game conversation. You see, because 150 million consoles will say otherwise, and the majority of people who play Call of Duty play on PlayStation. Now, that means that they're also acclimated to PlayStation controllers, ergonomics of PlayStation hardware, what have you. The only way
they're also investing in their digital library.
Well, you mean just in the console market, the majority play on PlayStation, right?
Correct. So if we're having a console conversation, PC wise, I don't know the numbers, but what I'm saying to you is, I think the only people that this acquisition will touch upon that will be like, okay, I'm going to go over to Xbox now, would possibly be like exclusive content, people who spend money for exclusive content for Call of Duty. But if it's just like a competitive player who plays Call of Duty religiously, and he likes the way it plays, and he likes to play with his friends, and he's always getting every Call of Duty, it's cheaper for him to just buy Call of Duty on PlayStation day one and buy it once and be done with it, instead of paying for a service that he has to pay monthly for. So, you know, there's the long game is kind of odd, because it really depends on the type of person that it's targeting. And I think at this moment in time, if Microsoft bought Activision because they had a long game in mind for all these Call of Duty players to come to Xbox, I don't think that's going to work. I think what will work for them is if they have this target set in, like, okay, we're going to have exclusive content earlier, or we're going to launch the game earlier if you're an Xbox insider, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what they can do, but that to me is the long game for them. If it comes to just like PlayStation players and their investment in the console, in the ecosystem, I mean, just do the math. Like, you're not going to go and switch to Xbox and pay monthly for Call of Duty to get it day one, when you could just pay one time and just have it.
I'll say this. there's a new gamer born every day. 3 years from now, there's going to be new gamers that enter into the market that don't have any type of loyalty to PlayStation, that don't have loyalty to Xbox.
Right.
And what they are trying to do is to build an infrastructure where you can come and play games on any device, on your Xbox, on your PC, on your freaking television, on your mobile phone, on streaming it on your mobile via the cloud. And they want to have the best games possible. And they're buying up all these studios in anticipation for that. And what I'm going to say now is not going to be popular with some people, but Sony needs to be worried because Sony is going to run out of steam and they're going to have to start producing games. And I know they won't be able to produce the same amount of games that Microsoft is going to be able to produce at those times because they don't have anywhere near the same amount of studios. And we're seeing right now Insomniac, like they released like 4 games this generation for them, keeping them afloat. So
what you're describing in what we call here in the United States, the Golden Corral phenomenon. You have people that like Golden Corral that will go in and get. I think Slow-Mo's probably familiar with Golden Corral. I think he eats her quite a bit.
Food analogy.
No, but it's a buffet, and then you have your Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and so they are in completely 2 different paths. Like Microsoft, the console war, they lost the console war. That's done. They are going after different addressable.
I disagree with you.
Well, let me finish this point. They're going after. They're going after a different addressable market who wants a cheap entry to gaming. Nobody wants a cheap entry to. Oh, absolutely, they are. Nobody.
No, they are. They are. But you can see
they
that with
absolutely
the Series S and
what you're going to see is you're going to see an addressable market who wants high-end experiences. That is, and we see this with other consumer products.
No, I'm going to just cut you off right here because I just completely disagree with you there.
No, I'm not.
Listen. Microsoft. Listen. Let me say my point here. No, that's nonsense. Listen,
it's not nonsense.
Microsoft has AAA content. They're going to release AAA content. They're going to have some buffet items as well, but they're going to have a lot of AAA content, medium rare, top of the line freaking steak. Okay, they're gonna have good stuff too. You're trying to say that they're just gonna release mediocre stuff because they don't care. No, that's definitely not the case. And they have a lot of titles that are almost at the cream of the top. The only problem is that Sony.
The cream of the crop?
Well, first of all, what looks better than Flight Sim? There's no game like Flight Sim.
Forza, come on.
Forza it's not a video game.
It looks. Go ahead. Whatever. Forza Horizon.
It's not what. It's a.
Look at look how many games. Look how many units they sold. You know how many units they sold of the game? Forza Horizon 5. Fantastic game. Now they've dropped the ball with Halo. Okay, they dropped the ball with Halo, but even dropping the ball with Halo, it's still sold. Hold on a second.
What other AAA games
still
are they
sold well.
Now
we have Starfield. Starfield is a new IP that is doing fantastic, and it looks good.
But Starfield's not. It's not going to look. Starfield's their first.
It just sold 10 million copies. What are you talking about?
I understand that, but mostly on PC. But my point is this: is that
but Xbox is PC.
But they
everything when it comes to that.
My point is this: they are trying to offer people. This is Game Pass. A cheap entry point into gaming. It's not a bad thing. What I'm saying is, you're just going to
be the way that you phrase it is like the games are budget like shit games.
No, I didn't say that. I just said
that's the way you phrased it. That's the way you phrased it.
No, but okay. So but if they're going, okay, so what is it? But again,
I think it was the Golden Corral.
Well, no, he said
Golden Corral.
Wants a cheap entry into gaming. And
I didn't say that. I never said that. I said there's people that want that, and my point is that you're going to have different addressable markets. You're going to have people that want those high-end, big budget AAA experiences. They're going to be willing to pay that. And I think what you're seeing is Microsoft move in a different direction, where they can offer a low-cost entry point of video games. We have developers talk about Game Pass or concerns of Game Pass, and that in the commoditization of gaming and kind of the bottom of the barrel, race to the bottom of the barrel. Like that's a concern from developers too about Game Pass. Look, it just is what it is. And that's a fair.
There's titles in there that say otherwise.
They want to make.
There's a difference between the games that are third party that go into Game Pass and the games that Xbox and Microsoft are going to deliver themselves that will be in Game Pass.
Exactly.
Because I don't think anyone here is going to say that Fable is a AA game. Like that's clearly not going to be a AA game. That's going to be a AAA game. Hellblade 2 AAA game. We can see how
next year
a lot of AAA the next years. We see third party publishers not believe in some of their games and put them in Game Pass just because they don't believe the game is going to have an opportunity, like a chance of selling on the open market without it. Like we saw that with Capcom and Exoprimal, as an example. So you will see some of those kind of games launch into Game Pass, but then you also see like Eliza P, which is also not a AAA game. But again, when it comes to the third party side of things and the majority of the content that you will see in Game Pass, I understand how it's not going to be a publisher's very best game they drop that year. But if you use the analogy like the Golden Corral, don't have any AAA food.
There's a market.
There's zero AAA food in the Golden Corral.
There's a market for the Golden Corral. It does well. The Golden Corral does well.
But as I'm saying to you,
that want a different experience.
The Golden Corral has zero AAA food quality. So it's not a good analogy.
They got that ice cream machine there,
Is
man.
what you said? No steak in there.
Should I use Texas
nothing at the Golden Corral.
I see what BRAP was saying. I get what he's saying. He's just saying that they're going to appeal to a different market.
Yeah,
that's the point.
All the different,
What people aren't realizing right now is that Xbox right now.
Thank you, Cuts.
The reason why we are praising Game Pass, and again, this is not me taking either side. I'm just saying the reason why Game Pass keeps getting looked at is because the how much they give you for the price they give you it at. And
right.
I think the impossibility here is to expect that Microsoft will release games on the same level as Spider-Man or as Last of Us on Game Pass without making Game Pass cost somebody $35 to $40 a month to have. I think that's why you see them not putting games that are like what we get from Sony on Game Pass, because if they did, these games cost a shit ton of money.
Yep.
And even though they have a shit ton of money, they're also going to be losing money at the same time if they put something on there.
What about Gears? Gears was a AAA game that costs a lot of money.
Yeah, okay, so Gears.
Or is it Horizon 5? You don't think that game costs a lot of money to make?
I'm talking.
You don't think Starfield took a lot of money to make?
Listen, you're talking about IPs that if you compare them to Starfield, they're in the same conversation. They are vintage in nature. So if you play a Gears of War right now, let me tell you something right now. It's not going to feel like what you're used to in third-person shooters as of right now. Okay, that is when you can't compare Gears, because Gears is a nostalgic game by nature. It's not a new cutting-edge game. It's not a game that you feel like you're actually fucking Spider-Man swinging through the city. Gears is a game that feels very stiff if you play it right now. And the new Gears of War that's coming out is taking as long as it is because they're trying to change that. Yeah. Because they don't want a Starfield scenario where you play Starfield and you feel like you're playing fucking Skyrim all over again. Because you have that same like old school type of gameplay mechanic in place. So for Microsoft to be on the level that D-Batch and others want it to be at, and I myself want it to be there, I want to tell you this right now. If it does ever get to that point, we can say bye-bye to Game Pass being the cheapest, best entertainment value on the planet because it won't be that anymore.
That's what
it will cost you money.
Bobby Kotick was under oath and said that the math doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't add up. Like Kotick was on under oath said, look, it doesn't work out. The math doesn't work out with subscription services.
Think there's a number.
Okay, but hold on a second. We have. Hold on one second. We have an example. We have one example right now of a game that did exceptionally well with Starfield. 10 million units. And it's no.
Let me 10 million players, not units. 10 million players.
Starfield sold 10 million copies because everybody was waiting for it.
It didn't sell 10 million copies.
It sold 10 million copies. It's been confirmed already. Stop it.
I'm not saying it didn't.
The lead platform was PC. By the way.
Oh my God. You got to be kidding me right now. If you honestly are going to sit here and tell me that Starfield is a 10 out of 10 Spider-Man AAA game,
it's not.
You're out of your mind.
It's not the case. But it's not you know what it is?
Is Bobby Kotick wrong?
I think he's saying it's not cheap. It wasn't.
It's not cheap.
Never mind.
Listen. If we're rating Sony's steak is a 9. If we're rating Xbox's steak, it's an 8. It's not far off, but it's not a 9.
I wouldn't say that at all. I would say right now, I would say Starfield right now, giving it an honest to God score is like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I think it's an 8.5 easily.
I just looked up
Or an
Slow-Mo.
eight, guys.
Guys,
Yeah.
real quick,
I got Starfield
so-
an 8, but it
Yeah,
does feel very
Actually,
dated though. And
can
it's
we
fine.
confirm?
Yeah,
hold
go
on,
ahead,
can we
Eric. Go ahead,
confirm
Eric.
if it sold 10 million or
I was
not?
just,
The
I
chat's
just
saying that
looked.
it didn't sell 10 million.
I just looked because Slow-Mo was pretty adamant about it. Slow-Mo knows his numbers. I just looked. Here it is right here. I believe this is GameSpot. Starfield rockets past 10 million players.
Oh, players.
That's what
okay,
it
so
says
that's
in this
Game
article.
Pass included.
Yeah. And now on MP, it did sell well because it
was number one on
NPD. Exactly, but NPD never gives us exact numbers.
And it's number
But whatever
number 7
it
for the
is,
year overall.
It's
Insane.
freaking high up there. It sold a
It
lot.
probably sold 5-6 million copies.
Like it's doing
It's already
well.
sold
good.
more than Final Fantasy 16,
but
which
the
was
lead
at like
the
what
lead
3 or
platform
4. Something like that.
Final Fantasy.
Which to me
platform
says that if you release a game that gamers want, you release a game that is relatively bug free, they will come and buy it. So if you put your heart and soul into a AAA game, and I think they really need to put the polish on their games like Sony does, people will buy the game. They will subscribe to the service.
That's a big
good
if,
game
D.
is a good game, and
D.
they just need to be able to have
why
a
are we
story
not having
narrative-driven game.
why are we not
the
having
same product value
why are we
as the
not
Sony
having the
games? That's all they're lacking.
conversation? Why are we
It's
not
what we
having the
want
conversation
that.
of what?
Back to what
Why are we
Brian
not
said.
having the conversation of what gamers want right now? Okay.
That's what they want. They want that AAA high-polished experience. That's what they want.
What they want is Sony AAA experiences. They want cinematic experiences. That's what sells the most. The Last of Us, the Spider-Man.
Sony's not the only. Hold on a second. Sony's not the only person that makes AAA experiences that are fucking blockbusters. First of all, okay. Call of Duty every year. Call of Duty every year is the number one selling AAA.
I'm asking you what
people want.
What sells
games that are the quality. Hold on a second.
Nintendo and Sony.
Me personally, and I think most Xbox gamers want the same quality as the Sony games. Microsoft is almost there, but they fall a little short, and they need to step it up to the next level and compete on the same level. And I think they can do it. And with all the studios and all the talent that they have now, they have to do it. For you to sit there and say, no, they just gotta, they're not worried about that. They want to put mediocre games in, and they just want to do
they have to put mediocre games in. That's my point.
Over quality. No, that's not the goal.
You're talking
that's
about
not the vision.
You're talking about what you want, and Basher's telling you, like, realistically, and we said this last week as well. If the quality has to jump up, and Xbox is going to do that polish in the games and the cinematic and the this and the that, you're not going to be paying $16.99 a month.
But if they're selling 6-7 million copies and they're getting all those Game Pass subscribers in there, I think it's more than enough. And even if they have to raise it by $2 and we're getting this top quality, nobody's gonna care.
Can we for one moment make the distinction that quality and budget are not the same thing? Because everyone keeps talking about quality, and then we talk about how much it costs. And frankly, Immortals of Avium came out with all this high quality stuff and bombed. It had Unreal Engine 5. It had mocap Hollywood actors all over the place. Bombed.
Slow-mo, great point.
Some games are just bad.
Slow-mo.
And it ain't got nothing to do. Hold on. We got publishers who spend $1 gazillion every year and their games are not high quality, but they sell. I'm talking about Madden. I'm talking about whatever the heck FIFA is called now, and 2K.
Yeah,
they just pump out garbage that they know people will continue to keep getting and buying because it works. So quality and how much it costs to make it are not the same thing. Lies of P is a high quality game. That game is cheaper to make than a lot of AAA games, but I will play Lies of P over those games. So quality and budget. Two separate experiences.
So what you're saying right now, you can argue that, but at the same time, let me ask you this: out of all these AAA experiences, all of Sony's AAA experiences, it always gives them all these fucking awards everywhere that they get all the time. Mm-hmm. Out of all those experiences, how many of those do you think had a low budget?
Very few.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that if we're having a conversation,
you asking me a question, I'm gonna answer it. Okay. What that means is they've won 3 Game of the Years in 10 years, which is great. But there were also 7 other games who won Game of the Year too. Sekiro won. Sekiro, Elden Ring, It Takes Two, Red Dead, and some of those games were cheaper than Sony's games. Budget does not mean quality.
You think that Sekiro and Elden Ring and Red Dead are cheap games?
Are you ignoring It Takes Two? Because I said that too, right? Didn't I say that?
Probably not Red Dead, but the other.
Did I say It Takes Two? I thought I said It Takes Two, right?
It Takes Two. It Takes Two. Wasn't that like an indie game of the year or something? It won game of the year?
Won game of the year.
Game of the year.
I don't remember winning game. I must have missed that. Okay, well I didn't know that. But regardless of that, whether or not It Takes Two wins game of the year or not, I'm talking about the usual conversation and what usually transpires in 95% of the time is that you have these games who win game of the year that cost a shit ton of money to make. If you're not going to dump a shit ton of money into your game and you're going to have an It Takes Two scenario, chances are you probably just got lucky or you hit a crowd that was able to really respect what you put out.
That they're not going to dump a shit ton of money in any of their games when they're still making Fable and they're still making. I don't think Gear 6 is going to be a AA budget. Do you?
No, it's not going to be AA budget.
Okay, so
as a matter of fact, it's going to be probably quadruple A from what they're saying. But
apparently, if quality is budget, that shit's about to be game of the year, right?
You just contradicted yourself, man.
It won't be.
I gotta go though. Mooch, I gotta get out of here because I got set up.
That makes
DPS.
no sense what he just said.
I hear you, Slow-Mo. Thanks for being.
It doesn't make sense. You were making the correlation that they need to spend the money to hit high quality.
They're not
win awards, and you just said Gears is going to quadruple the budget of Gears 5. So I'm like, oh well. I mean, by your logic,
I say that Gears is going to win game of the year?
They can't do it. You said they can't do it. How do you know?
Did I say
can you predict the future? You don't know.
I don't think that Gears is going to win game of the year. I think
the PlayStation 5 is doing so good this generation because of one company, Insomniac.
No, that's not true.
But D, that's not really true.
That's not entirely
Twitter.
true.
That's Twitter.
Oh, come on.
I do got to bounce, Mooch. I appreciate being on. You guys are awesome. Chat's awesome. Appreciate the conversation. Basher as well. Everyone, have a good one, okay?
Thanks, Slow-Mo. Appreciate you and Forte.
All right, I'll see you. Go to crowd next week, man.
You better
Let's go. I want to go.
Before the PlayStation 5,
we'll take you to go to crowd cuts.
Let's go.
Before the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4 was my naughty box machine. I used to call it all the time, my naughty box machine. The PlayStation 5 has become my Insomniac machine, man, because Naughty Dog's been pretty much non-existent with all these remasters and whatnot on the system, and now we're hearing they're going to remake another one. Like, come on.
Yeah, but my
Insomniac is definitely really propping up Sony. I'm not saying that Sony isn't doing good in other areas, but they're really taking them to the next level right now. That's undeniable.
So last generation, then the Xbox was just a rare box. You know, I think
the
Gears box.
I think PlayStation's body of work, PlayStation 5, this generation.
Gears and Halo box. That's what it was.
I think it speaks for itself. Obviously Insomniac, but I mean, we've had Ragnarok.
Well, here's my thing.
We've had some other titles.
BRAP, I want to bring this up, and I want to ask Erica first because I want to get Erica involved in this. Erica, the one thing that when they were going back and forth, one of the things that when Slow-Mo, shout out to Slow-Mo, he was saying, in Basher, they were going back and forth with the quality and the budget. The one thing that we forget here, and Erica, you love the food analogy, so I'll give you one. Okay. So I mean, well, we're all hungry. You're on the West Coast, so I'm even interrupting your dinner.
It's like dinner time.
Right?
You get me hungry right now.
Cuts, it's margarita time, Cuts.
Well,
margarita time.
Let's go.
Every time right now. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get the drinks out for this question. So I think when it comes down to it, though, when you're talking about all of these IP, money's a big part of it. But the other part that's a really big part, and I think Bash will back me up on this one, is the talent. And the one thing that we've seen since, right, they're the chefs of the kitchen. And, you can, Erica, you can go buy the #1 restaurant in your local area. If you buy the restaurant, you buy the name, you buy the ingredients, you buy the recipes, but the chef leaves, I got news for you. It ain't going to taste the same tomorrow. So my point being is this. We're now seeing, every time there's a purchase made, and we're going to see what's going to happen with ABK in a year or two, because it doesn't happen 24 hours later. But when Playground Games was bought, the founders left. Okay? Rod and Mike Ibarra happened to be back because of the purchase, but they ran away, and I'm wondering how long until they run again.
Yeah, Rod leaving Coalition.
Yep, and now you have Pete Hines, along with Starfield's lead quest designer leaving. And I understand that this all happens in the business. I completely get that. But the problem is when you have, and D said it, and a lot of people say it, oh, they have all these IP. Oh, they have all this IP. The IP is the recipe. But if you don't have the chef and the people start leaving, what do you really have at the end of the day? It's almost an empty shell with a big...
You have 343.
Right.
Oh,
And
man.
this is the problem right now. Microsoft is going out and buying, but talent retention is something they're going to have to work hard on. I'm not making fun of them for it. I'm just saying you can clearly see Pete Hines is a big part of it. And when you have a Pete Hines leave and you have founders of Playground Games leave, what ends up happening is if I was a number 2 or 3 or 4 in the company, I would be like, maybe, geez, Pete was my mentor. I loved what he was doing. I might want to. You say nah, but you can't say nah. Because
I think they'll be fine. I think talent comes and goes all the time, and sometimes you do need a little bit of a change, a little bit of a shakeup to change things. I think they got a plethora of talent over there. In all honesty, it's on Microsoft not to screw it up. They have the talent. I'm not worried about that.
Can I ask you a
They
question?
need to execute. Go ahead.
Before Slow-Mo left, I wanted to ask him this as well. I'm going to ask you a question. Just shoot me straight. If you had a blindfold on and somebody said, hey, I got 2 first-person shooters in front of me. All right? I got one that's, sci-fi. And I got another one that's military-based. One of them has a budget of $200,000 and the other one has a budget of $30 million. Which one do you think, I don't know if you're a betting man or not, but which one do you think would probably be the better game just by that information alone?
That doesn't mean anything.
I'm asking you, if you had to bet and you had to say, there's 2 shooters here.
I would need more context. What's the game about? Like, that doesn't mean anything.
I just told you. It's a military first-person shooter and a sci-fi first-person shooter. One of them has a $200,000 budget. The other one has a $20 million budget. And the person in front of you asks you, what do you think is going to be the better game here?
I don't know, man. Honestly, to tell you, it's really that's kind of a dumb question, to be honest with you, because you'd need more context at that. Like, I'd have to play the game. It's a game. It's a game. I'd have to play it.
Why I'm asking you this is because
it would matter who's making it. It would
matter. Because budget does matter at the end of the day, because it shows how much you're putting into this title.
That's not true. There's been so many big budget games that fail on both sides. Budget isn't the end all. And you're acting like these Xbox games don't have a high budget, like they're like $5,000 to make. It's ridiculous.
I'm not acting like they don't have a high budget. I'm saying to you is that from what we're getting from Xbox and what we're getting from Sony, what people want.
Listen, I'm going to just say I'm going to put it in simple terms. Okay, listen. Right now, I believe that Sony is at a 9, and I believe that Xbox is at an 8. I believe that they're slowly starting to catch up, but they're making mistakes that they can't afford to make. I think that they need to get up to that same 9, that same quality of standard that Sony has. I don't think they're far off, but I don't think they're there yet. So, and I don't think the chance that you have that they're in the fucking basement.
All the fluff you just gave me, you didn't answer my question.
I did answer your question. You didn't like the answer. I said it would depend on the developer. I'd have to know more about.
You only have 3 pieces of information.
We only have 3 pieces, though.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't be able to
I'm using.
I wouldn't be able to make a decision.
I think we have to circle back to what Mooch was bringing up with the talent. The talent is what matters. Like, who's behind the game. The budget can make a difference in how.
I feel like the budget is a huge factor, if anything.
How much scope it has, how big it is. All of that would matter. Yeah, but who's behind the game, I think, matters way more.
Because the budget is decided by the people that are on the floor that are looking at this project and being like, how much are we going to invest into something like this? The suits and ties, the ones who believe in the product that they're going to put out. They're not going to look at a product and say, okay, this is a fucking, I don't know, generic thing, and we're going to dump $200 million into it. Chances are it goes through different types of tests.
Well, the thing is,
I'll tell you this
much, though, Bash. I'll tell you this much, Basher. I think another thing tied, because Erica makes up. I brought the topic up. Erica is backing it up, and Erica. Well, here's the thing: the budget. When you say the shirts and ties, Basher, I'm kind of with you, but hear me out. If I'm the guy in the shirt and tie, and I'm going to put the money down, I sure as hell want to know that I've got the best quality developer and team making it, right? And another example that I didn't say before. Shout out to Jez, who's in the chat. Grind my gears. Tango Gameworks founder and CEO Shinji Mikami left. He left, and now everyone was like, "Oh, Mooch, he's just retiring. Leave him alone." I go, "No, now he's gonna come back. He's gonna maybe have his own studio, maybe work for Nintendo, maybe work for PlayStation. He left Xbox. So the point I'm trying to make here is it's happening more often than not. Rod had the keys to Gears. He had the keys. He left. Shinjo left. Pete Hines left. You know, these guys leave. The founders of Playground Games left. The tale goes on and on. So when you say budget and we say this and we say that, it all depends on the developers are the music makers. They are the creators. The IP is nothing. The recipe is nothing. My parents, my grandparents have given me recipes. I can't create the sauce. I'm trying, but I can't do it. So my point being is, right?
Again, the reason why...
Yeah. Go ahead, Erica.
Sorry, I was just going to give an example because, you know, I cover a lot of Souls games, right?
Yes.
So you have From Software. So think of it like this. Like if From Software was behind a game that cost, I don't know, 20 million. And then you have some kind of Souls-like wannabe who has a bigger budget. Who are you going to trust? I'm trusting From Software.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's who's behind the game. So
That's right.
I get where Mooch is coming from. Like if, let's say Miyazaki left From Software.
Oof.
Oh my God.
I would be worried.
Don't ever say that.
I know. I don't want it to come true, but wouldn't we be worried a little bit? I see where you're coming from, Mooch. Like you would, if the talent leaves, the grandfather, whoever's there who created these games and made them this good, and they just take off. Yeah, I think it's safe to assume like there could be a loss of quality there. It could happen.
Yeah, and Drew Murray, shout out again to Jez. Jez is an encyclopedia from Gaming Grindhouse. Shout out to Jez. He says Drew Murray, you know, the initiative. The AAA team that was supposed to put out something that they were born, what was it, 2018, 2019? There's nothing there. There's nothing there. A lot of those people left. Drew Murray goes back to Insomniac, puts out 2 games. You know, I mean, so my point being is that I understand what Microsoft's doing. And listen, guys, this is not an Xbox versus PlayStation thing. I love Xbox. You guys know I do. I play Xbox. I'm playing right now. This is Call of Duty on Xbox. That's where I play Call of Duty for the most part. And play, this footage is PlayStation. But I swap back and forth. My point being is that it's about who's creating these games. Phil's going out there. He's buying studios. Okay, good. Are you retaining the talent? Are you keeping the creator of these IPs? Erica, your Miyazaki example is spot on. What will become of From, and this is rhetorical, but please, Erica, answer it. What will become of From when he leaves? It's not like From's going to close, but will the quality change? I'm only asking. It's a decent question.
You could even see it within their games. With Miyazaki's not on the game, like Dark Souls 2, he didn't work on it, as far as I know. He doesn't want to do sequels to Bloodborne, things like that, because that's not his thing. And people think the games suffer for that. I don't personally, but we could even see it within him being there and not being on the project and how it matters and makes a difference. So, I mean, you know,
I want to chime back into the budget thing again quickly with what D-Batch was saying about Microsoft having titles that are super high budget. And I can, the reason why Halo Infinite has a $500 million budget, and the reason why Gears had a huge budget, and the reason why Starfield had a huge budget, is not because of the fact that the game itself took a shit ton of money to make. It's because of the fact of the work and design of workflow that Microsoft has in place right now, and that unfortunately is heavily into contractors and rotating contractors. The reason why Halo Infinite had a $500 million budget as opposed to a $200 million budget is because they kept bringing rotating contractors in and out, and everybody had a different design logic for the game. They had a different theory in place. They were swapping code left and right. Their Perforce access was essentially cut off at certain points in time because they had to go through untethering individuals when it came to contracting and stuff like that. So, but then you look at a game like The Last of Us Part 2 that has a $200 million budget. And that shows me that they took their money that they got, that high budget that they had, and they were able to put it exactly where it needed to be to make a high quality product. So where I'm going with all that is that you're coming back and saying, well, Microsoft has games that are really high budget as well. But they don't have to be that high budget. They are high budget, but they don't have to be at that certain point, which also attests to the fact that, unfortunately, as much as I love Xbox, they're kind of lost right now because a lot of these individuals who are the original recipe creators that Mooch is referring to have left. And they're trying to scramble and find people who can meet that epitome of quality, like a Rod Ferguson, like a Cliff Bleszinski, and they're gone. So they're dumping money hand over fist with acquisitions and with things like this because they're trying to recreate that again some way, maybe get lucky in the money dump and maybe find somebody who's able to keep up to that par.
I hear what you're saying there, and yeah, I guess it could be somewhat of a concerning, but I truly think that they'll be fine. I think they have enough money to go out there and get the most talented people in the industry for starters. I think they need to vet these people definitely to make sure that they get the right people that they to do these things. But also sometimes you need a little bit of fresh blood to freshen things up, especially when you have a formula that's just been the same way for so long. So I'm not concerned about it. You know, it's either going to go good or it's going to go bad. But truly, I'm not concerned about it.
So, you know, the other thing I want to kind of just go back to a bit of gaming here for a second, and I just to play the opposite side of the coin. So Insomniac hints at a possibility of a future Venom game. Now, I know a lot of people right now, because Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 is absolutely on fire this week, and everyone's talking about it. Do you feel, and Eric, I'm going to Erica again because I want Erica to get more airtime. Erica, honestly, do you think that the maybe Venom game is just a bit, you know, is that are we following too close to the footsteps after we go through Wolverine? Or no, this is probably a welcome. This looks like it's a marriage between PlayStation, Sony, Marvel, and Insomniac. It's a three-way marriage here.
Yeah.
Is it too much? Is it too much Spider-Man? Too much Venom? Is that too much?
I mean, it depends. You know, it's going to be years out. So Wolverine, when's Wolverine coming? Next year, the year after?
I think 25. 25
let's say 25, right? And then there's going to be at least a couple more years before Venom, if it does happen. So, I mean, there's going to be plenty of room, I think, to get us, you know, wanting a taste again of the Marvel games. But, I mean, I don't know. This is kind of news to me as far as the rumors of them making this game. Because they did, you know, they were interviewed, right? And they said they might do it, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Yeah, they're definitely interested. I think they said, and I'm paraphrasing, they're gauging the interest after this because, you know, Venom's in this game. So, you know, I'm no spoilers, but, you know, he's everywhere.
Right. I mean, it would be cool. I would be excited. But like I said, I think there would be enough time in between the games. But you're right. Like, let's just say Naughty Dog keeps doing the remaster thing. And then these other devs that are under Sony's belt aren't really doing much either. It could, maybe people might get a little burnt out. It could happen. A
little burnt
out.
But
I would be excited. I mean, me personally.
Yeah, me too.
Hey Mooch, I wanted to just
ahead,
off topic, quick. I want to say this right now, and I don't think a lot of people are not expecting this.
Sure.
Do not sleep on Remedy and Alan Wake 2.
Oh, dude, I'm not.
Do not sleep on that game. I know we're having Game of the Year conversations.
I've been awake for that one. That's crazy, baby.
Let me tell you something.
A nominee. You can get
it will be. It will be.
Really? First of all, I shouldn't act shocked.
This year
looks amazing.
Dude, this year is tight. I mean, there's a lot.
I played 30 minutes of that game. And I can fucking tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I can't believe this is not more of a conversation in the room.
Basher, well, it'll be next week. But listen, Basher, where did you play it on? PC?
I played it on Xbox.
Okay. So I'm glad you said that. I was hoping you said that because shout out to Alex, by the way. Oh no, it's Alex. Alex was like, he sent out the PC requirements, and D, I'm sure you probably saw them too. Maybe Erica got a look at them. They're quite high on the stakes for PC parts in order to enjoy it. I'm definitely gonna be playing it on console. Just because, I mean, I have a I looked at the chart, I have a 2080 Ti. My card wasn't even on the chart.
Wow.
I was like,
a lot of people are sleeping on this game right now. And I know you guys, because we're all pretty heavy into gaming.
I'm definitely sleeping on it. I've been sleeping
on it.
I was in complete shock, like graphically what I saw and what they designed here. It's like oh my God, I can't even. It's just it's going to be a fucking fantastic game. It's for me after I played it, because I played it before I played Spider-Man, and after I played it, I was like, oh man, Spider-Man better be really good because this game looks like it's going to be fucking fire.
Yeah. No, listen, Alan Wake.
I had that.
You guys want to know the requirements for the game?
Yeah, go ahead, D, please.
So for minimum low settings, 1080p, 30 FPS, 2060 or 6600 RX from Radeon, 6 gigabytes quality. it has to be with DLSS quality for that 30 FPS. Wow. 16 gigabytes of RAM. Recommended medium 1440p 30 RTX 3060 or 6600 XT. That's with DLSS or FSR at balance. 1080p 60 3070 6700 XT. And you have to put in performance mode for DLSS or FSR. For Ultra, you're going to need a 4070 7800 XT and in the performance mode. For ray tracing, low 3070 or 6800 XT, medium RTX 4070, and for high, I guess is high. Those two that I just mentioned are at 1080p, mind you. So the medium ray tracing, low 1080p, 30 frames per second is an RTX 3070 or a 6600 XT. Medium at 1080p, 60 frames per second, RTX 4070 with DLSS FSR at quality. And for high settings, you're going to need a RTX 4090 at 4K, and you're going to have to put it in DLSS performance mode. So it's demanding, man.
So D, let me ask you a question, D. For us folks that are probably going to pick it up on console, what can you expect the Xbox Series X and PS5 to give us in the ranges that you were just speaking of in PC? I mean, are we going to be able to hit a mid-range in any of those?
It's going to be 1080p 60 on the consoles, I'm going to assume, and they might have a 1440p 30 FPS or unlocked mode.
Maybe like a quality mode.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, pretty sure it's going to be that.
Was it 60 frames, Basher, that you played, or do you remember if it was 30 frames?
It was 30.
It was 30. Okay, so that's what D's saying. So it'll be 30 frames, and that'll be a higher resolution, I would assume, at that point, right? And then 1080p is what we're...
It'd be 1440p or a little bit higher. Just looking at the recommendations and the specs for the games here.
The design of it, everything, the way it ran, it reminded me. I played as the.
Did it have ray tracing on?
No, I don't think there was. I didn't see any ray tracing on there.
Okay.
Saga, the character I played as, she's like the black chick, the cop. Oh, it was True Detective vibes all the way. Like, and I'm a huge True Detective fan, so I'm just I can't praise this game enough for the little bit that I played of it. But I just hope that a lot of people it's a really good time to be a gamer right now because we have these fantastic titles.
I'm so excited for this game. I'm a big fan of Remedy games. You know, some of the other guys that I game with, they don't like Remedy games. I've always liked Remedy games, even the ones that haven't been the best. I've always just enjoyed their games. And on your point, I've been gaming for like well over 25 years, and I cannot remember for the life of me a year where there were so many titles and consistently good titles. Like even the ones that were broken, okay, they were broken, but they were still pretty good, you know, and they got fixed. But like overall, this has been one of the craziest years for gaming. And Game of the Year awards this year, man. A lot of people have so much invested in it. There's going to be a lot of sore losers, man.
Yes, there is.
It's a race, man.
There's going to be a lot of snubs.
A lot of snubs.
I still think Tears of the Kingdom is going to take it. I still think it's going to take it.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. You know, I'd like to see Mario steal it from Zelda, but hey, that's just me. No, if it's going to be a Nintendo game,
I
would
want anybody to steal it
from Zelda.
I do not want Tears of the Kingdom to win. No, I don't want it to win.
Don't let the great Chris Righteous hear you say that, Erica. Shout out to Chris.
I know.
I've got
just so many games. I want something else to take it.
No, I'm with you. I mean, Breath of the Wild had won years back, so it would be nice to see someone else take the trophy. I have a lot of super chats I didn't get to, and then I have one more topic, and then I promise these guys. But guys, if you want to comment on these super chats, Erica, D, Basher, BRAP, if you guys want to get into it, and guys, just so you know, Dark Autumn has had to leave. He's doing a podcast at 9:00 as well. So shout out to Dark. We'll definitely do an outro for him. Shout out to Lord Metroid. He says, Super Mario Wonder, it's amazing, a 2D masterpiece. And I said this when the show started. As soon as this show's over, probably going over with the family, we're going to be playing some Mario. Because honestly...
it's great, Mooch. It's fantastic.
Like, you know what I mean, Baxter? It's just, it's exciting. It is exciting.
I'll say this. That game looks fantastic at 4K 60 FPS.
Oh, God, he did it. He did it. He really went there. He took it to Yuzu.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Shout out to Lord Metro.
D-Batch, how good is the music in that game, though? Come on. I know you're what? 5 on 8.
Hey,
the music is solid.
When I fired up the first level and those, what do you call them? The Venus flytraps. What the hell they're named? What are they called?
Yeah, I know. I can picture them. I don't know what those are called.
Anyways, they're like, you're going through the level and they all start singing like in unison. So it's like, oh my gosh. My kid
fucking jolly, dude.
My kid loves it. Listen, I don't think the game's a 10. Let's set that straight.
Mhm.
However, Nintendo games, they're just fun. Like
They're fun.
undeniable. I don't care how old you are, they're just fun. And like,
It really
yeah,
is on the THC.
I wouldn't go out of my
You say
way
they're
to
fun
like
on
play
THC?
Nintendo games, but with my kid, forcing me back into them, it's fun, man. I gotta be honest.
honestly,
This game, seriously,
Go
it
ahead,
makes
Erica.
me wish my kid was a little bit older because he's only 1. He can't game yet. So,
No, yeah.
It makes me excited though, like for these kinds of games when he's
let
older.
me tell you guys a quick story. My kid's 5.
Wait.
He's been watching YouTube videos of Mario for like the last 6 months. I didn't want to get him onto games right away because I know how consuming games could be, and he needs to learn his other stuff and be up to the level of his other stuff before I get him into games and he gets distracted. So he's been watching this stuff for a while. I put it on a tablet for him, the Super Mario on Android. He's been learning on that one. So today I finally gave him his controller. This morning before he went to school, we got up early. I gave him the controller. I said, go for it. This kid was playing like he's played this game
That's
100
awesome.
times before. I was
That-
so amazed, and he was so happy and proud of himself. And I gotta say, you have a family, you have little children, or up to 12, 13, you need to have a Nintendo in your house.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
You know
sure.
what? I got to
Yeah,
say that.
for
And
sure.
honestly, D, I want to take a second to say thanks to D right there. Really nice that he shared that moment. The thing about it is that that's what it's all about, honestly. And when you said that, really, it takes me back to when I played my first Mario game when I was a kid. And honestly, D, my face was lit up. I was lit. I didn't leave the TV. Like, I know this probably as a parent, you don't want your kid doing this, but I didn't leave the TV all day. I didn't leave all day. I was just mesmerized by how amazing it is. And, I'll take it a step further. Erica, yes, the kids definitely enjoy it, things like that. But even playing with your better half can be so fun.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a platformer
Definitely.
and you miss a jump, you drop
Yeah,
in,
and
you
you
laugh. It's
co-op, you
hysterical.
play
You co-op,
together.
right.
Yeah.
So there's just so much to it. I mean, listen, I went out and got it, and I went physical. I usually go digital. I'm digital everywhere. Of course, PC, PS5, Xbox. But I go physical on all the Metroids, all the Marios, all the Zeldas. I have all the physical copies. I never miss that. So shout out to Gaming Forte. Went over and endorsed GameStop for sure.
That's definitely, I was just going to say, that's definitely what's great about Nintendo. And when I wasn't a parent, I used to think, Nintendo, they're not for me anymore. They're for kids and stuff. But now I'm a parent. And I'm like, I really value and appreciate Nintendo because I'm like, yeah, you're going to give those experiences to my kid now. And
Absolutely.
that's awesome.
It does.
I think that's awesome.
It does pass down. You know what I mean, Erica? That's a big deal. That your experiences and your stories, because listen, Zelda, Metroid, I'm using the top tier here, even Kirby, whatever, they're still alive now. So when we were kids, you played those games. Your kids will play those same games. Like, that's an amazing thing that you will be able to pass down. And you're a gamer through and through. And, D, whether you hold it back or not, same thing with my kids. I held it for a while. They're gamers, and it's hard when you're in a gamer house to not have kids that like the game. You know what I mean, D? So it's a great thing. It's a great bonding thing with the family. It's really, really great. I hope everyone goes out and grabs that.
Definitely.
Slain Chilean says, can't wait to see what Insomniac does with Wolverine. Slain Chilean, believe me when I tell you, I like Spider-Man. I love Wolverine. Everything. I have all the Blu-rays of every Wolverine, everything. I have as many comics as I possibly could imagine to have. Go ahead, Erica. Erica, please.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that was my first crush, Wolverine.
Wolverine's-
So I love Wolverine. I can't.
I gotta say this. I love Wolverine, one of my favorite Marvel characters, top 5 for sure.
Mhm.
In the comic, the way he's depicted,
Yes.
it's just ruthless.
Ruthless.
In the movies, so he's never really gone full like Wolverine. I want in this Insomniac game for him to go full Wolverine. I want him to like tear people up. I want limbs flying. Like,
yes.
I want a true raging Wolverine, please.
So you know what, D? Can I ask you a question, D? Did you watch Logan?
Yes, I did.
I think that's the closest to that.
That's the close. Exactly. That's the closest that we got, and then bit the bucket.
And it's funny because as you're saying that, because I'm watching, and majority of reasons I watch all the X-Men is just because of Wolverine. But like my point, I do agree with D. They never let. There's a couple of them I would say, maybe X-Men 2. They were able in that movie. They let him kind of be him a bit. In Wolverine Origins, I thought was a very good way to. But again, was it that ruthless, that real rated M? Goriness you saw in the comics? Not really. Not until you get to Logan, where you saw he gave 0 Fs. And that's when he went off. So yeah, I do agree with you there, D. Miles says 10 million players, not copies, sold for Starfield. Yeah, we went over that, Miles. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. The Rogue Inquisitor says Xbox has been trying to play the long game since 2001. How's that going for them in the big three? Smiley face. So Rogue Inquisitor, definitely a Sony guy. Sheffield Sphere. I haven't seen Sheffield Sphere in a while. He says, I don't know, D. He goes, Microsoft has not earned that benefit of the doubt. The strategy requires a high level of efficiency of game development. I don't think you would disagree with that, D. You're still...
No, but I just think all the moves that they're making, I'm confident that they know what they need to do, because if they don't, it's bye-bye, right? So when your back is up to the wall, you know, most people, they show up, and Microsoft is a big company. I just don't see them failing. And I think they're on the right path. Like, look at the new advertisements that we've seen. That's excellent. They took over that thing at Vegas.
Yeah.
That's excellent. You know, Starfield is doing good for them. They're on a good path. Like, they're starting off good. They just need to continue that momentum. And like I said, just put that little extra pizzazz, that little bit more on top, so they're on the same level and competing with Sony. And I think this is what games are good for everybody, because when a game like Spider-Man comes out, it inspires other developers to create similar experiences, to want to have that type of level of quality and polish and admiration from the gaming community. Other developers want that. You think these developers don't want to be acknowledged? They don't want to be extremely proud of their work. They don't want their stuff to be number one. They do. Yeah. And when we have good competition like this from Sony, it's only going to breed the best out of Microsoft, and vice versa.
Yeah, no, I think that was well said. Absolutely, D. I'm right there with you. If anyone's wondering, yes, that is the Order 1886 you're seeing. I wanted to get the platinum on it, and I love anything with the lichens and vampires and things. There's no vampires in this one, but it's definitely the werewolves, things like that. I was like, it's Halloween, so I'm trying to play I'm sneaking a couple scary, no, it's not scary, but a couple of those horror type of games until we get to the great. I wish Alan Wake was released 2 weeks ago. I really do. I know that they probably couldn't.
Wasn't it supposed to? I think they delayed it.
They did delay it, Erica, and I know why, but that sucks, because
it's
Halloween.
Yeah.
It releases on Halloween or the 27th or something. But my point being is like that's the end of the Halloween. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. October. I wish it was just here for the whole month. That would have been great.
You know what's so funny? I feel so silly because it was a joke, but I said on Twitter, like, oh, it looks like Alan Wake's trying to avoid Lords of the Fallen. It's like the biggest L I took, and it was a joke, but it's still an L. I feel like it's an L.
It's not.
So I'm taking that out.
I mean, listen, Lords of the Fallen had a lot of potential. I mean,
a
lot of potential.
You know what? There's some conspiracy going on with that, because they're trying to say people were paid off to hype it up and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true. I can't confirm or deny, but it does look a little spooky.
Boy, I tell you, some people in the chat,
spooky, too much hype.
Absolutely. Aaron goes, well, you'll play that, but you won't play Redfall. I played Redfall. Let's not go there, Aaron. Let's not go to Redfall. Let's end the show on a high note. That being said,
to Aaron, he was trying to go at me earlier. But shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron. Oh God, Aaron, I'll tell you, boy, that Redfall was a scary game, but not for the vampires.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tyson Webb 509. He's a true Mooch Maniac family member, and he resubscribed. Thank you, Tyson. I appreciate that. Alphonso Carter, another Mooch Maniac family member, he says again, D says Sony dies. He's happy. D, they
why would I be happy if Sony dies? I want all companies to thrive. You crazy? There's so many IPs and games that I love from Sony. So no, I don't want any of them to die.
No, absolutely not. And shout out to the great BRAP. He just wrote me, said, Mooch, I gotta go. BRAP, thanks for being here, buddy. I know you were in a family event today and took time out for the show, so thank you. Alphonso Carter comes back. He says, it sounds like to me, according to D-Back, Sony dies, Game Pass wins.
No. I'm simply saying that they're not gonna enjoy the same luxury that they have right now, because they're gonna be up to their neck with competition from Microsoft when all those games are being released. So they have to be proactive and make sure that they're prepared for that. And they're gonna have to go out there. They're gonna have to buy some studios. They're gonna have to make sure that they're pumping out games that aren't just from Insomniac. That all their studios are pumping out games. Bungie's gonna have to pump out some games. They're going to need to really compete. Right now, they're kind of in cruise control because Microsoft is just selling their stuff in. As far as wanting Sony to die, like I said, no way, because there's a lot of franchises on Sony that I like. GT is probably one of the reasons why I started like hardcore console gaming back in the day. That game was just awesome. I remember hours and hours and endless hours of just watching the damn replays of my races. So
D-Batch,
no, I don't want. I don't
is-
want Sony to die.
D-Batch, isn't it fantastic how you can praise Sony for like the last couple, like 48 hours, and you could say everything you're saying and be like, I wish Xbox had this, and then people still are trying to shit all over you, and then when you praise Xbox, people are trying to shit all over you. It's like, doesn't it show how toxic we all are?
You know what it tells me? It tells me that I'm on the right path. If I'm pissing off everybody, I'm on the right path, and I'm down the middle, and even Steven, I'm honest. Like Xbox is my preferred platform.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. Xbox is my preferred platform, but I don't understand. Doesn't mean I can't like anything else. It's like if someone likes PlayStation, they can like other things too, even if that's their preferred. Like I like vanilla over chocolate, cake. But doesn't mean I don't like chocolate cake and I don't eat chocolate cake as well. Like, it's just ridiculous.
That's right. That's 100%
I said God of War I said God of War Ragnarok was an 8 out of 10, and people took it like I said I beat up my parents every day.
Well, I'll tell you
the
one
if
thing.
it's not a 10, that you know how it goes.
Yeah, Eric,
it's got to be a 10
Erica,
with no issues, and that's how it is.
Well, I'm not going to speak for Erica, but the one thing that I'm waiting for and I can't wait for is I can't wait for the new Gears. Like when the new Gears comes out, like I'm gonna be all over it and I won't stop talking about it. I love it. The one thing I want from Halo.
You already know, Mooch.
I know you.
You already know.
Erica,
Come on.
I'm not even messing with you. Your fandom is you're on top. You're way above me on that. But I love it. I love Gears. I'm a Gears head way more than a Halo person.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Halo, I don't want to go down this pipe either because I promised these guys we'd get out in a timely manner. But Halo, I'm glad to see that the multiplayer is getting its legs back a little bit. But I really wish that they would pay attention. And I wish they would, take care of the fans like me that really want more campaign. I want more campaign.
That's the thing when I tweeted out when I talked about quality. That game, listen, if it's not ready to come out and it's not top quality,
wait.
I won't swear in your show, but 2 tears and a beer and screw it. Don't release the damn game. Just delay it. Now, if that game had come out the way in the state that it's in now, it would have been much better. And of course, there should have been some DLC for the campaign. And what pissed me off the most about Halo is that is your franchise game, man. That is your Mario. That is your baby. How could you let it get to that?
You're on the fucking box of Xbox.
and I really believe that did hurt Xbox, because I remember when Halo was launching, like NBC News, CNN, everyone was talking about it. There was lineups. It was nuts. And Mooch made a good point. Gears has overtaken it. Now, don't get me wrong. The last Halo, I enjoyed it. The campaign was good. The multiplayer, not so good. I heard they fixed it now, but I'll probably try it, but I'm not dying to go back into it, right? Mm-hmm. If they had done things right the first time, then we wouldn't be having these issues. So, man, quality, any first party game that you're releasing, if it's a AA, if it's a AAA, it should be top quality. If you can't release a top quality, don't rush it out.
That's right.
Try to reach some number or get some metric. Release it when it's proper, because that is going to benefit your service, and that is doing the best service to your gamers, to your fans, to your fan
I completely
base,
agree. It doesn't matter if we're talking about movies, music, or games. That first impression is a big deal, D. So I'm right there with you on that. I really wish they would have waited. I know they waited a year, but wait a little bit longer to have everything come out and be just the chef's kiss.
I'm gonna piss some people off right now, but it is what it is. I said this about Redfall. When Redfall came out, I was like, oh, how are you saying this about Redfall? I'm like, the game is trash. It's buggy. It's broken. It's 30 FPS, and it doesn't even reach 30 FPS. It's blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's a great game. What are you talking about? You're just hating. Oh, they're going to patch the game next week, and it's going to be better. And I said, listen, they're not going to patch that game right away. If they can't get that 60 FPS at launch, that means it's far off. And the months down the road, when they patch that game, nobody's going to care because the game is going to be dead. And that's exactly what happened. So I hope that was a learning moment for Microsoft, and I do believe it was, and something like that should never happen again, because that really did affect them, man. They had pretty good momentum going, and then boom, Redfall.
Yes, yeah, Redfall really did kind of take a little bit of the wind out of the sails. I do agree. Shout out to Sheffield Sphere, and we don't need to get into this. He said, "D, the new gamers you talk about aren't interested in flight sim." He was using that more of a metric tool, I believe. Sheffield Sphere.
I say it's very niche. I know this, but like it still did well. But there's something for everybody, right? When you have variety, that's the one thing that's really great about Game Pass is the sheer variety. Like we have freaking Lies of P in there, day and date. Come on.
Yeah, no,
Mooch, you want to hear something funny?
Sure.
We do IT support for the coalition as well. We're all kind of the same, using Perforce and what have you.
Yes.
And speaking with them on like Teams messaging and stuff like that. We were like poking fun at them. Me and a couple guys over at Turn 10, and we were like, if we don't play as Marcus Phoenix in the new Gears game, we're gonna stop giving you guys IT support.
That is a great. I am so glad you held that over their head. Please bring back Erica. Can we do a bring back Marcus? Can we do a bring back Marcus campaign?
Please play as Marcus? I'm with you on that.
Please.
But you already know people are gonna start thinking that he's probably gonna die or something.
I know, but
I don't know. I just miss Dom and Marcus, man.
I think
that's another crazy thing. What are they gonna do when they start it up? Because you had to make a choice in the last game, right?
D, I think they'll they're gonna end this series with Kate. And then I think the new one after that, which may be a ways out, but that I think they'll do a prequel maybe.
The Pendulum Wars, man. Like do like a prequel with Marcus and Dom. Hell yeah.
Here's my thing.
Go ahead, Erica.
And I get teased about this because I am a chick, but I don't like Kate. I just don't like her, and I miss Marcus and Dom. And people they tease me. They say I don't like women. It's kind of true sometimes. But
oh my god!
In this case, I don't like her. I don't think she's a good character, and I feel like when they do show Gear 6, if it's all about her, I think that's going to be a problem. I think people won't be that hyped.
Just like D-Batch is being honest all the time, I'm going to be straight up. The first time I ever teared up in a game was when Dom had to take care of Maria, and you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
One of the best moments in like single player games. That whole entire scenario, I was like, wow, is this what games are becoming? You're just pulling at my heartstrings right now with this kind of stuff. So yeah,
I still get teary-eyed about that.
Mm-hmm. Me personally, if I was writing it, but thank God I'm probably not a writer, but I would just turn her to the dark side and make her the enemy and just murk her.
I mean, that's what they kind of implied. Remember with the trailers, and she was kind of turning evil, and because of her grandmother.
I didn't beat Gears 5. I heard this. I heard the story.
They didn't really get there yet. Maybe that's their plan, but we did see hints of that. But it did feel a little forced.
Well,
and I felt like they really didn't do it well.
To be honest with you, just to pick a random category, and you guys know this, I was like the last person watching The Walking Dead still. But once Rick left, like this is the way we, and it's not apples to apples. And they turned the story over to be run by Norman Reedus and Maggie, that's Daryl Dixon and Maggie as the characters. It wasn't the same as when you had Rick. And that's the feeling when you have such heartstrings and emotions with characters. Dom, Baird, of course, Marcus. Like then all
those guys.
Even James. I mean, they made his son like worthless. I mean,
he was so boring.
Man.
He was so boring. Yeah. They did a horrible job with him, and it's just like, that's
who was the other guy that was like the consistent like? He had all the brothers that always end up dying.
Carmine.
The Carmines.
The Carmine. Oh my god, it was such a good little thing they did where every game was a new Carmine.
And they all started with it was like ABC.
Yes.
Yeah. It was so good. Oh my god.
But we bring this up, right? Oh, sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna say before I lose my train of thought. But this is the problem I had with Last of Us 2. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, okay. Joel,
you're about to get.
I haven't got to the end yet. Let me take off my headset. Oh my god.
Oh come on.
Oh, no, but my thing is like being forced to play as certain characters to kind of carry the rest of the game, but it's not who we started with. Sometimes that could affect your experience. Like for me, it kind of did.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to bring it.
That Last of Us 2 is such an insane conversation because like honestly
it's a polarizing conversation to have.
It's polarizing.
I didn't want to start it because we'll be here forever, but I'm just saying
let's discuss it when it comes to PC.
And when it comes to when it came to Gears, I suffered through that too. It's
Mooch, not to get too deep into it, but I never got your take on it. But my take on The Last of Us 2, not to get into spoilers for D-Batch, but do you think that The Last of Us 2 was more of a test, like a psychological test, like a sick psychological test from Neil Druckmann to see how people would react to such a polarizing ending something of that magnitude?
Well, he's definitely, his creative mind goes definitely in a different direction. I'm trying to think of like, I can't say like Quentin Tarantino, but like, or anything, like he's one of those like directors that he's not going to follow the line. Like, don't think like, and I'm not comparing him to Quentin by no means, but like you go see like anything. Look, let's take Pulp Fiction for example, right? I don't know if you guys all saw that or not, but like Pulp Fiction literally pulls you into 75 different directions in that movie, right? And has a beautiful way of tying it in at the end. But my point being is that, I mean, I guess Basher, if you want it, I could go that far with you. Do I think it was deliberate to see the reaction? I don't know if it's deliberate. I mean, he's an artist. He writes, and that's the polarizing reaction. That's that.
I don't know.
Back and forth.
When they killed my man's there, man, like, come on.
Listen,
I was
dude,
like,
look.
come on. What are we doing here?
It was the way they did it, because I assumed he probably would die, but the way they did
of old age,
kind of weird.
So wait a minute. So old age. So wait. Shout out to Brian East. He gives a good example. George R.R. Martin does this a lot too, right, Basher? So is he writing these books with the intent that, like, I thought when I was watching the first season, I thought Ned was going to go all the way.
Right.
In Game
Well,
of
the
Thrones.
reason why I asked that is because like I think when it comes to that Last of Us 2 conversation, I think that the ending of the game is not about the crazy things that he decided to do at the end of the game, but more or less like a psychological evaluation of how many of us as gamers would actually want to choose violence over the right thing to do. Like not to get into specifics for D-Batch, but like there's a specific point in that game where you're fighting a specific someone, and that specific someone deserves to die in every way for doing something to our beloved Joel. But yet the scenario that person is in is one of a parental scenario, and of like somebody who has a massive responsibility now with another character, and it's like, yet a lot of people are like, fucking kill her, and it's like, well, she's kind of a mom now.
Oh, great! So now I know what all those lesbian memes meant.
No, not that. I'm saying, do you get where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
Mitch?
no, I get where you're going with this. I wonder if it's more that or more of that. People felt that way about the revenge. Like, revenge is a very strong, right? I mean, because of what happened, and again with D. I thought you were kidding when you said you didn't play it.
I thought he was kidding.
No, I've played the game.
Oh, okay.
I got I'm like halfway, almost 3/4 through.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, just gonna wait for this to come on PC, man. And I stopped it there, and I'm just gonna replay it on PC.
How did you stop, man? That game, the first time I played that game, I couldn't stop.
Because just at that point, I was, they were coming to PCs. So I was like, I'm gonna wait.
I got news for you. I love when I have my PC guys that come on, D being one of them. You guys have the patience of a saint. I'm not waiting.
I call them the PC master weight.
I just can't.
They could wait for years. I can't do it. If I really want the game, I can't wait.
I'll say this though, I finished up Spider-Man Miles Morales again on PC like 2 days ago. So I thought, okay, maybe it's going to be a little bit jarring coming from our RTX 4090 down to the PlayStation 5 for Spider-Man 2. And I got to say, I was surprised. Like it looks fantastic, man. So I can only imagine when that comes to PC. So that game, I think they got me. I'm probably going to double dip on that game. But yeah, the wait game sometimes it sucks, but sometimes it's worth the wait, because Spider-Man Miles Morales, oh my gosh, man.
No, absolutely. I got a bunch of super chats here still, and I know it's bringing up great conversation. E. Kim says, Final Fantasy 16 only on PS5, Starfield on Xbox and PC. It should have sold more, and based on critical reception, it should edge out Starfield for a Game of the Year nomination. I actually think because of the amount of games, and I actually really enjoyed Final Fantasy 16, I don't think Final Fantasy 16 or Starfield, I don't think either of them are going to get a nomination. I don't. I think they're both going to kind of get, Erica said it, someone's got to get snubbed. There's too many games. So I don't, I mean, how many make the nominee? Do they do 5? Is it 5?
I think it's 6.
6?
I think 6.
I mean,
I think Starfield, sorry, away from the mic there. I think Starfield's going to get the nomination. I don't think it's going to win just based on the amount of games and the hype for the other games that came out this year and the passion that the fan bases have behind them. I don't think it'll win, but I think it should definitely be nominated for sure.
Well, I can see you saying that you can see the nomination. I just don't, because of the plethora of games. I'm just not sure. But go ahead, Basher.
I'm going to say something polarizing too. I think Final Fantasy would win if it wasn't called Final Fantasy, because it ain't a Final Fantasy game.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. You go ahead and get on that rowboat.
Fired.
You go and get on that rowboat, and I can't help you there, Basher. Wait till you see the conversation you're going to have tomorrow on Twitter. Oh, God bless you, buddy. It's unbelievable. TrueWiddy, he goes, so Forza Motorsport 2023 is quality for Game Pass. Shout out to TrueWiddy. Magnum Gaming. Basher's still laughing. Magnum Gaming. Game Pass is competing with all other services, not just games. Game Pass may implode if there is a mass exodus of subs and a bunch of games that need to be paid for. We'll see. I mean, that's a lot of the stuff with Game Pass in the long game. It's predictions on both sides. I've said my predictions. D said his.
I'll say this, as a Game Pass subscriber, man, it's pretty hard to get out of it because it's just so much value.
I mean, don't get me D, and listen, I would not disagree with you, but once mine is up, I won't be resubscribing, because the games that do come to Xbox that I want to play, just like I did with Starfield, I bought Starfield. I'm going to buy the games I want. I don't need to have. I just said to Erica and everybody, I've been saying it for weeks, I've got like 400 games in my backlog. I got games this month that are still wrapped up I didn't even get to. I don't need the 200 games in Game Pass that I never looked at in the first place. I don't need it.
For me, I love it because I can play my games on the PC. I can play Lies of P on PC. I can play it on my Series X. I can play it on my Rogue Ally. It's just too much. I got the EA games in there as well. Like the games, Lies of P day and date. I can go play all the back compat games.
Yep.
I got Call of Duty games that are coming. It's going to be day and date Call of Duty games and whatever new games Activisions are going to bring. It's just the value is it's tremendous, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, Mooch, I got a jet, man. Before I go though, I got to tell you, I just pissed my pants laughing because I turned on fall damage on Spider-Man.
Oh, did you? Oh yeah, that's great.
Let me tell you
heard
something.
About that.
It is the most hysterical thing.
It is funny. I'm going to turn that on too, because I want it to be as real as possible. Basher, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm going to get through these super chats. I have like 4 or 5 super chats left, and then we'll do our outros.
Yeah,
you guys take it easy.
But like I said, thanks, Basher.
Every time I tell this guy I'm not staying to the end.
I know, D. Well, D, that's because
you truly are a mooch. You're
I
a mooch
really
of my
am a
time.
mooch.
Yeah, he's Italian. He brings you with that red pepper.
If you guys were at the house, I would just smother you guys in food, and you would be like, "Well, we can't leave. He made all his food." No, but D, what it comes down to is this, and you made a great pitch right there. But when I've said it, and we'll leave it here, value is in the eye of the beholder. You made a very good case how you will enjoy it. The things that I want, like Lies of P, for example, like I want Lies of P. I want to play through it. I'm going to buy that game. You know what I mean? That's a me. Maybe it's just my generation. I just want to own it. I don't want to rent a game. It's going to be there, then it's not, then it's there, then it's... I want to... The games I want, I go get. In the games I don't want to play, I don't play. And don't get me wrong, that's me. I liked your pitch. You had a good pitch as well. Shout out to TrueWiddy who came back. Pardon me. God Emperor Sofa King. How did I miss God Emperor Sofa King tonight? BattleBit destroys this question. BattleBit was done by 2 people without multi-million-dollar budget, and I was outperformed a lot of AAA shooters. Okay, we're talking about the budget money. I apologize, guys. There's 2 ways to do this when you have super chats, and I appreciate every single one of them. When the panel is in a great heated discussion, I don't stop them for that, but I actually want to bring some of these back. So shout out to God Emperor Sofa King. I appreciate that. TrueWiddy says the initiative is, quote, a quadruple A studio in their words. So shout out to TrueWiddy. DC Gaming says, thank God it's Friday, and shout out to this awesome panel. DC, thanks for being here. DC was on the show about a month ago. We got to get DC back on. Lord Metroid says, Nintendo is proof gameplay matters. Great show. Lord Metroid, thank you. The great Jimmy Harrison. Love the show. Best damn podcast. Think Quantum Error may be good. I'm going to let you know soon enough, Jimmy. We'll talk behind the scenes. Shout out to the great Moonshot. Nothing but love for my Canadian brother, though. Shout out to, there you go, D-Batch. A fellow Canadian here, Moonshot. Moonshot says, do you got to be honest with yourself? If Sony is at a 9, Microsoft is not at an 8. If that was the case, they wouldn't be behind Xbox One sales and it getting ratioed 2.5 to 1 to PlayStation 5. Man, come on. That's your fellow Canadian right there, D. I'm going to let you handle that.
I think at their current state, of trajectory. I think they're at an 8 right now. I don't think at the beginning of this gen they were at an 8, but I think they're at an 8 now. Sony's just on a little higher level, man. I don't know what to say, man. It's just they just edged them out a little bit in just certain areas, of story design, game design. It's just eking them out. It's not like there's a huge gulf, in my opinion, because I play all games, right? So when I look at a quality standard, I think the Xbox games are great quality, and I just think the PlayStation games are just a little bit better. Being honest, that's my opinion.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. That's very fair. Shout out to Mary Wilcox. She's a great show tonight, Mooch. Appreciate that. Have a good weekend swinging around in New York. Absolutely. Guys, I will say this much. I promised the great D-Batch and the great Erica that I would leave at 2 hours after. So I said 2 hours. We're at 2 hours 20. I'm going to say, to be honest with both of you, that's not bad. That is not bad. Right?
Not too bad. And it goes fast. That's the thing. Like I told you, maybe after 2 hours I'll have to leave, because
Erica,
when I came
on your podcast, Erica,
I've been on air for 5 hours, man. 3 hours before, now 2.
You were streaming.
I'm depleted.
Erica, when I came on your show on Saturday night that one time, I think we went almost 3 hours. I mean, we just talked forever. I mean,
right? It just happens because it's good conversations and
yeah. That's the thing. I always I'm coming for 20 minutes, half hour. I'm going to dip out, but then the conversation is good, and then you want to get in your counterpoints, and it's good conversation. And what I do like about your podcast is that you do got some Sony guys on here, but everybody gets to say their piece, and everybody articulates what they're saying. And I think we have honest and open discussions here. So I'm all for that, man.
Yeah, man. D, you said it yourself. That's one of the things you said. You said, I'm proud. You were speaking about yourself. You said, I'm proud that I'm able to say my piece on this side of the coin and this side, meaning PlayStation, Xbox. And that's the same way I feel. Like, if I like something Xbox, I say I like it. If I like something PlayStation, I say I like it. If I don't like something, then I don't like it. I mean, it's okay to say that. You don't have to just stand in line. You know what I mean? And just like keep walking forward into a pit of fire because you like one thing or not the other. But
it's funny how
and don't just say you don't like it. Like, explain why you don't like it. Go into detail. Give me like, I just don't like it because it's Xbox and it sucks.
You have to say why.
What's the reason? You don't like the studio. You don't like the game design. Like, these are the conversations that we should have. These are honest conversations.
It's funny how, like, being honest like that, we're talking about how we like things on all the platforms, and it's just because we're gamers. It's funny how people like legit have an issue with that. It's like you got to be on one side or the other. The
ridiculous
fanboy
tribalism. I call them. I call those guys NPCs. Sorry, my bad.
The whole filthy neutral, dirty neutral thing. Fake neutral. And I honestly feel like I'm as neutral as they come. Like, I play games forever. I don't care. Like, as long as I get to play it, I'm not waiting. I'm just gonna play it. But people won't believe me on that. They'll think I'm a Sony girl because who I hang out with, or I'm an Xbox girl because I was on Gaz's podcast one day. Like, it's just it's things like that, and it's just it's so wild. Well, I'm over here like, I just want to play games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know about you guys, but I just want to play games. So I always try and give them a little talking to. Get the mom in me. I have to let them know, like, hey, you guys need to chill out.
And what's wrong with somebody liking a platform?
There you go,
and also liking something else.
That's
what's wrong with that.
Well, D, you said it yourself. You said you're leaning Xbox this generation, lean a little bit more PlayStation myself. I mean, the thing about it, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, is we all are. Listen, everybody's gonna have a preference. It doesn't matter. If someone comes up to you and says, for tomorrow for breakfast, you're out with the family, they go, D, you want waffles or you want French toast? And you can't have both. You got to pick one. You do have a favorite. You do have, even if the answer is I hate both. The point of the matter is
waffles,
right? It's
give me some chicken on it.
The older I get, the more I'm going towards waffles. I used to be more French toast. I don't know. Why are we talking food again? All right, look,
we're hungry.
I'm starving. Somebody get a pizza ordered quick.
No, because you're Italian, actually.
Listen, if you guys, that's why I love doing cam shot, like cam.
Come to my house, manja.
But like, absolutely, like I literally talk with my hands the whole time. I would be flying around by now. All right. That being said, I want to say great show, outstanding show. I want to say thanks to everybody. Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. Please hit the like button before you guys leave. We had almost 500 here at one point. That was really, really cool. I really appreciate everybody being here. I do want to give shout outs to the folks that had to leave a little bit early. I have them right here. Button Basher, you guys know it's Button Basher Podcast. Go over and check him out. He also does a lot of great what is it there? Shorts, and so does the great Erica. By the way, I'm gonna have to ask Erica how she does all those great shorts because I really want to do a couple. I think they look fun. They look like a lot of fun. The great Dark Optimus, always here to give a good spoil of if you're having a good time, he will crash that party. The great Dark Optimus, check him out. It's at Dark Optimus on Twitter. And of course, you guys know Slow Mo Backslap and Gaming Forte are doing DPS right now. I've kind of ran into their two. They usually go on Thursday nights, 9 p.m., but they're doing it tonight because they had a conflict yesterday. So shout out to them. And of course, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, BRAP, who's Wednesday nights at 9 p.m., but you never know. When he feels like he's got to do a BRAP rant, it could be a Saturday afternoon, it could be a Sunday morning, it could be a Tuesday at 3. You never know. So go over and check him out as well. Just making sure I didn't forget anybody else here. We got so many great people on the show tonight. Let me go ahead and say this much. Erica, thank you so much. I know that you have a family, you have gaming to do, you have a life, you have this and that, and you're on West Coast time, so it's harder to link up with us New Yorkers. But I got to say, thank you for being here. Love it when you're on the show. You know what's going to happen. In about 6 weeks, I'm going to be bothering you again. And maybe that just means, right?
Less than that, less time than that.
It probably will be less. I was just saying that on the air to sound like I was spacing it out. Erica, let everybody know where they can find you. And as always, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me as always. It's always fun hanging out with you guys. And I don't know, I was looking at the stream and it's not showing my full name next to my icon. I'm not sure what's up with that.
So it was earlier, Erica, I believe. That's a Discord bug. Before your name was there and Dark's was just a D ...
Right. So mine's like E ... But that stands for Eric Cuts for the win. That's how you guys can find me on YouTube, Twitter, all that. And yeah, Mooch is right. I do the short thing. I've been starting to do some shorts and like other videos, and I try and cover as much Souls games as I can. So if you're into Souls, you're into From Software, you're into Lies of P, I did some videos on that. I did a couple videos kind of shitting on Lords of the Fallen. So if you want to see that, the performance and all that. So I get down with the Souls games. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check me out. I'm approaching 15K subs, which is crazy. Wow. So I'm hoping I can get there soon. So if you want to hang out, come through. But yeah, thanks for having me, and hopefully soon, maybe I can come back.
Oh, Erica, you already know you can come back whenever you want. I just got to work into your schedule. That's what we got to do.
No, it's crazy. I mean, I got a 1-year-old, and typically, like on Fridays, my husband works at this time, so it's just me on mom duty. But today I had a sitter, so it just kind of worked out.
Very nice. Well, hopefully,
so I'm gonna game.
And she chose to spend her time with us. That's a big deal, guys.
Listen, that's why I can't say thank you enough.
And Spider-Man. But yeah, you guys too. It was good. It was fun.
Thank you, Erica, so much, and we do look forward to your return. The great D Batch, everybody. D, listen, everyone, I got to be honest with you. You know this. I'm a big fan. Love when you're on the show. And I know you're always busy, and that's the reason I space out my asking you is I know you're always like, Mooch, maybe I'll see what I can do. I'm doing a stream. I'm doing this. I got a podcast. D, we got to get you on more often. I think the audience loves you here. The conversation is always top notch. So D, let everybody know where they can find you. Let them know to go over and check out the stream you just got done with before this show. But looking forward to when you return to the show as well. Thanks for being here tonight, D.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. And I love coming on here, and I love the different aspects, or I should say, the different views that are on gaming on this channel or this podcast. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on. You can find me on Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it, at D_Batch. You can find me at YouTube at DBatch. I did a 3-hour stream today, and we were trying to see if these bugs were real or not. And spoiler, I had one bug, and that was
spoiler.
That was like roughly 2 hours and 52 minutes into my stream, and it was barely a bug. It was just an NPC on top of a car that kind of slid down. So you guys can watch that for yourself, and you can use this video to show other people that, hey, it's not rampant with bugs. Now, do I think there are some bugs in the game? Sure. Are some people experiencing bugs? Sure. Mm-hmm. But most of the people are forcing it and posting it online. Some of them, made a mistake in trying to pursue a path that they're not supposed to go on. But for the most part, it's bug free. The odd person is going to have a bug, but overall, it's a buy. So anyone telling you don't buy this game because it's bug filled, it's nonsense. And as far as the game is concerned, it's a fantastic game. The action, the pace of the game, the story. Oh man, it's it's just checking all the boxes for me, man. So yeah, definitely play Spider-Man. I can't wait to get off this podcast. I'm gonna get something to eat, and then I'm gonna be playing Spider-Man till like late in the morning, man. So once again, find me on YouTube at dbatch. Watch that video. Thanks for having me. Thanks. Nice meeting you, Erica, and the rest of the panel was a good discussion. See you guys.
D, make sure you send me in the DMs. I gotta get your PSN so we can chat some while you're playing Spider-Man. Not tonight, but over the weekend for sure, D.
Sure, man. Yeah, man.
Because and Erica, actually, I think I might have already have Erica on PlayStation. It's like I'm playing like single player games, so it's not like we're always in headsets, but nonetheless, you know,
it's the lonely station, right?
Yeah,
that's what they call it.
Yes,
we don't
absolutely.
have friends on there.
Yeah,
we
you don't
play
need
together.
to. Yeah, you play the game and you talk about it on a podcast later.
We're antisocial.
So weird. That's so true, actually. I hardly have any.
So many friends on there. I have so many, and I don't play with like any. Of them.
I have a lot of friends on PlayStation and Xbox. But you know, it's funny. Xbox again. If you're doing like Call of Duty, you're doing Halo, you're doing Gears multiplayer, you're doing that kind of stuff. You definitely have more of like an open chat, whereas it's more you're playing Spider-Man, you're just kind of like, you know, you're just jamming out yourself, maybe even playing a little Apple Music on your headset, you know, a little something. That being said, guys, we'll be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and as Basher said, you know, don't sleep on Alan Wake, and we're not going to. We're going to be talking about it next week. So guys, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the weekend. Mario Wonder, Spider-Man 2, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out and good night.
Peace.
Bye.